Jacob, do you have like a count up for duration on your screen? I've never done this on mobile before. No, you're recording. I see it. We have PTSD because we lost one of the recordings a while back. Welcome to Snark Marks, everybody. We are a very funny podcast out of the Central Valley of California and Northeast Arkansas. Is that where you? Is it Northeast? Northwest?
Northwest.
Northwest Arkansas. Yeah, right on the edge, right by Oklahoma.
Yep.
I'm Andrew. That's Dusty.
Hey.
And this is my wonderful, beautiful, amazing, hilarious brother, Jacob Cotner.
Stop.
Jacob's audio is going to be mostly good today. He's on headphones because Riverside doesn't allow old Macs.
Nope. Said no and rejected my old girl.
It's anti-poverty. Yeah. Follow us on all the socials. We are Snark Marks Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Dusty's at SnarkMarkD on Twitter. I'm at Andrew Idell on Instagram. And Jacob is at Jacob Cotner on basically everything. Right, Jacob?
I'm on a lot of stuff, yeah. Jacob Cotner. Yeah, that's me.
Check him out. So today we brought Jacob in because we're eventually, later on in the show, we're going to start the alternative rock song bracket because it's part of Mark's Madness as we've coined it. But I want to jump right into it. You guys are movie guys, okay? Something just popped into my head. Dusty, is Nic Cage in The Rock?
Nic Cage is in The Rock, yeah.
Okay, I thought so. Okay, so let's have a quick convo. What is the best Nic Cage movie?
Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I know. Then feel free, Jacob, to jump in here. I feel like you have to have two different conversations. You have to have what's the best Nic Cage earnest performance, and what's the best Nic Cage in a bonkers movie performance? Because he swings wildly between the two things. I was watching The Rock earlier, which is how we ended up here. But on the little synopsis for The Rock, it says Academy Award winner Nicolas Cage brackets leaving Las Vegas stars in the high octane thriller The Rock, and that's really Nicolas Cage in a nutshell. He's both guys, and then he's a third guy, which is like I have to pay off my castle, so I'm in this B movie for like 10 minutes. Guy, also he can be all those guys.
That's why we love him.
Yeah.
The man contains multitudes, you know.
Yeah, because I feel like movie-wise. And you guys, I don't know if you guys will probably not agree with me, but that's fine. I think his best movie that I've seen is Matchstick Men.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
That's a pretty good movie.
Yeah,
that's
I like that. I like that movie.
He's like a freaky OCD dude.
What's that? Oh yeah. That's what it's about. I thought I was giving you OCD, but because I was moving.
Oh no. You're good.
No, I think serious movie wise, there's a movie of his called The Family Man that I'm really into. Was it The Family Man? I think it was. He plays a weatherman, or was it The Weatherman? Man, now I'm confused.
Well, there's the Weatherman where he plays a weatherman, and then there's The Family Man where he plays a family man. But in the Family Man, he I think it's like a What a Wonderful Life situation. Like
yeah. It's been a long time since I saw it, but I remember that being the serious Nicolas Cage movie that I really enjoyed.
I remember that movie because What Women Want was coming out at the exact same time, and somebody at my church was like, "That What Women Wants movie looks really raunchy. I'm gonna go see The Family Man." And I think you see Tay Leone's butt in The Family Man, and they were scandalized by that turn of events. They're really upset. Yeah, they're really upset about it. I love the movie Adaptation with Nicolas Cage. That's an incredible movie. That might be his that might be my favorite performance of his. But I think The Rock might be the best movie. That movie rules. It's so good. It's like the best version of the Nic Cage action movies, you know.
Listen, I'm a little bummed out we haven't mentioned National Treasure yet. Okay.
National Treasure's fun, but I must say, if we're going with crazy action Nicolas Cage, I'm going to have to go with Con Air.
Con Air. Okay.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Con Air. I just don't
man.
like the fucking
You would hate
accent,
it.
bro.
You'd
I
hate-
hate the accent that he does.
You would hate Con Air. But that's the run. Isn't that the run right in a row, Jacob? It's The Rock, Con Air, and then Face Off, like all in a row.
Yes, that all did happen in a row. Con Air has a really strong emotional like thing with his daughter there, and like he
Yeah.
has to get back to his daughter and give her this teddy bear, and that pays off really well at the end, and I fucking cried my eyes out. So like, not only is it a
Yeah.
cool action movie, but it's got a lot of heart, and it's ridiculous, which I also like. And we got Steve Buscemi in
Malkovich
there.
is insane. It's so good.
Malkovich, yeah, everybody in it's just at 100%, and it's Andrew. If you haven't seen that, do yourself a favor.
Listen, if I ever watch it, we have to watch it for a podcast. I can't just in my personal life.
Can't
Just
you
watch
be
it
out
with
your
here
dad.
watching Con Air.
Make it a thing with your dad. Your dad will love it if you hadn't already seen it 10 times.
I don't want to see my dad cry.
Yeah.
I've seen it enough.
I think those are fun because like Nicolas Cage's chemistry with Sean Connery is really fun, and like Ed Harris is a really great bad guy in The Rock, and then in Con Air, it's like everybody is having the most fun in that movie because it's so absurd. Like John Cusack was great in it, Ving Rhames is great in it, Buscemi's got an awesome part. Like that's whenever you talk about like they don't make movies like this anymore. Like they really, it's like the like not dumb Ocean's 11, but like action guy Ocean's 11. Before the Expendables came out, I guess.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna also point out Renfield as a more recent movie. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
Renfield's a lot of fun. I like that.
Very fun movie. And Mandy, I really liked Mandy. That was a crazy batshit movie, but good Cage there.
Yeah. And Leaving Las Vegas is a great movie. Yeah, and he's great.
If I
He's
saw
great
that,
in
it was way back in the day when it came out.
That's
I heard
just
recently though he never got paid for it.
Interesting. Yeah.
You're gonna stiff Cage?
Well, they probably couldn't afford him at like his rate or whatever for this small movie. And so he did it so he could be the guy who wins an Oscar, and then that lets him get paid for Con Air. And I had a friend who really loved Gone in 60 Seconds. I don't know how I feel about Gone. It's fine,
That's fine.
Yeah, I loved Gone in 60 Seconds growing up. So I can't. That's why I can't really shit on like you guys liking Con Air.
Right.
Like because they're similar, like hokey, very personality driven. From what I understand, movies where like Gone in 60 Seconds is a ridiculous movie. It is like a Fast and Furious movie. You know what I mean? Memphis. He plays a guy named Memphis Reigns, dog. And I think he listens to like classical music before he goes out to steal cars.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think
Very cool.
Is Angelina Jolie in that? In like
Yes.
is that her with the dreads? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I loved that
dreads.
movie.
Well, his name in The Rock is Stanley Goodspeed.
Hell
Which
yeah,
is a terrible
dude.
name for a person. That just reminds. There's a Family Guy joke where Brian wants to be a screenwriter and he goes to Hollywood and he's like talking to somebody and someone in his screenwriting class sold their movie and he goes, "That guy sold his movie. The name of his character is John Everyman."
That reminds me of what's his name, Anthony Weiner, the politician who couldn't stop sexting people. His online pervert persona, the name was Carlos Danger.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What's the first name of Goodspeed?
That's
Stanley.
Stanley Goodspeed,
Yeah.
bro. That's better than Carlos Danger.
Carlos
true.
Danger's better than Anthony Weiner.
That is
Yeah.
true. That is absolutely true. If his name was Carlos Danger, it would be funnier if his name was Carlos Danger and his online pervert name was Anthony Weiner.
Yeah, that'd be real good.
That makes more sense, at least. It aligns better.
Shout out to Kick-Ass. I thought the first Kick-Ass was good. And
yeah, he's good in that.
He's in that. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, he's very sad in that. When he dies,
Yeah.
that's one of the saddest scenes in a movie ever. Like
Yeah.
the way he plays it, it could have happened in any movie and been fine. But he's just like making these inhuman, like ah sounds, and it's just like, oh, that poor guy, he's dying hard, and his daughter's having to witness it. Basically, it was horrible.
Yeah,
he put his daughter in that position, unfortunately. But
he's fun in the Spider-Verse movies as the noir Spider-Man, the 1940s Spider-Man. That's a good. That seems like it fits for him. But yeah, the things he's doing now, like I want to see. Have you seen anything about the movie Dream Scenario, Andrew?
No, I just clicked its wiki.
He plays a character who's like I think like an English professor, and someone has a dream that he's in, and then they come to him and like, oh, isn't that so weird? You were in my dream last night. And then it turns out that the whole world starts having these dreams that have Nicolas Cage's character in them.
Hell yeah, dude!
And it starts going, he starts going insane because of it. And, like, it looks pretty fun. I haven't got a chance to see it yet, but that one, I liked that. I liked The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which is one that came out.
I was looking to see which one was the one where it was like meta, where he plays himself.
Yeah, with Pedro Pascal, and like, I could get into that. There's a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie that came out years ago called JCVD, where he plays himself in like a bank robbery, and everybody's looking at him like, hey, can't you stop these bank robbers? And he's like, no, I'm just an actor. I'm just a Belgian. I'm not actually the Street Fighter.
Unless for some reason doing the splits can stop these people.
I can't actually perform a sonic boom like my character Guile.
I don't think he didn't even do that in that movie. So the Street Fighter movie. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah. That might have been the first real taste of disappointment I ever had as a kid from the movies. The movies had never betrayed me in such a way before.
What about the Super Mario Brothers movie? That came first.
I don't know that I saw the Mario Brothers movie first.
Oh, really?
Or I was still too young to be like, what are they doing? I was like, oh, they have the boots and they're kind of jumping around.
When you say this, my first memory is the Masters of the Universe movie. Even though I think it's a fun movie, as a kid, I'm expecting a He-Man movie, and I got a Canon film that was, like, they were like, well, we can't afford all this He-Man stuff. Just put them on Earth.
Yeah, you got like another Conan the Barbarian movie, just a not as good Conan movie.
Yeah, so I mean, like that. I remember like being like, well, I guess if that's what the people making the movie wanted to do, but I didn't realize that oftentimes the people that are hired to make these things don't know anything about the source material. The Street Fighter movie, in fact, the guy that wrote and directed that, he knew nothing about the game at all. And then he just happened to be in the same office building that the Capcom staff was going to show. Like Capcom from Japan had been visiting. They were going to come visit wherever he was. And he found out about it the day before. And he's like, Street Fighter is the biggest thing in the world. I'm going to sell them a Street Fighter movie. And he wrote a script overnight and then brought it to them. They glanced over it and said, do it. And that's the movie. The script he wrote overnight, there's no differences. Like, that's the movie he wrote. So, I mean, like...
Steven D'Souza wrote, right?
Yeah.
He wrote Die Hard. The dude knows how to write a movie.
He knows how to write. And that's he wrote that in one night, dude. I mean, that's what Steven D'Souza can do in one night. And, there's some problems. But he got a list of all the characters. He got as much info as he could about the lore and just wrote a movie. And just tried to cram every character in there. And that's why some game players were just like, why in the F is E. Honda a cameraman for Chun-Li? And she's a news reporter and all that. It's like, it's hilarious stuff.
I also heard that he was like, well, I don't want to make a video game movie because I don't want it to just be a carbon copy of the game. You can go to the arcade and play the game. I want to make a movie. And I was like, yeah, but nobody wants the Street Fighter movie to be anything. I want to see the two dudes fight in the street. That's the point of the Street Fighter movie. If you're going to make it,
it's about an evil dictator and it's about a military operation to overthrow an evil dictator. Don't you know?
Yeah,
nothing to do with a street fighting tournament at all.
I just kept watching it, going, somebody's going to throw a fireball. Somebody's got to throw a fireball at some point.
And they kind of do, like Ryu or Ken, one of them. They do the motion, and there's like a flash of light on the screen, but there's no fireball. But like a guy flies back. That's the closest they got. They did a couple of moves.
Yeah, he does. The one thing I remember is Guile does the backflip kick.
Yeah, he does the flash
and at
kick.
10 years old, I was like, maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough for me to love this movie. And
It
to
was.
own it
I still
on VHS. Yeah.
I bought it every time they release it on DVD and Blu-ray. You know, I love it. Yeah, that's good.
Did they do any fights where it was like the angle of the game, like where it's just like 2D?
No, there's no fights. There's there's one.
Like, well, I mean,
there's one fight at the end. Really,
it's really, and even that is like quick cuts and like you don't see an actual fight happening. It's two guys that, you know, somebody will throw a punch and then you'll see the cut to the guy receiving the punch, you know, and stuff like that. So you don't actually see stuff.
It's truly terrible, Andrew. One of the best stories of it is they had to pay Jean-Claude Van Damme so much money that they couldn't hire other martial artists to be in the fights. That's why there's so few fights in the movie. And so one of the guy they hired to play Ryu, his English was so bad that they had to recast Ryu. And so Ryu's just some guy that's not a martial artist, because the guy that they hired who couldn't really speak English was a really good martial artist apparently, but they couldn't put him in the movie. And dub all of his lines. That's the one man against everything he's got. That guy.
Yeah. So they threw the guy in the movie, even though they had to recast him and he couldn't play Ryu. And they were like, "You're going to play a character named Captain Sawada," and he's in like a few scenes, and he has the worst overdubbing on it. He's like, his mouth's moving totally different, and he's like, "But Captain, what will happen if you know?" It's really fun. And the funniest thing is when they made the video game, he was the only new character for the Street Fighter the movie video game, and everybody's like, "Captain Sawada's going to kick everybody's ass," and then they see what he is, and they're like, "Oh man, this guy." It was a crapshoot. That's yet another time as a kid, like the illusion was broken, and I was like, "Oh, things don't go well sometimes," you know.
Not every movie's good, because when I was a kid, it was just like the movie exists, therefore the movie is good.
I think I'm sorry, Turtles 3 was another one, because you know, Turtles 1 and 2 were fantastic, and then I went through puberty and Turtles 3 came out, and I would have still been on board. Hell, I'm 44 now, and I'd be on board for a great Ninja Turtles movie, but I was a little less interested, but I was like, man, it's a Turtles movie. It's going to be great. And it was made by new people, and it wasn't great. The
Disney Pocahontas movie had the same effect on me, because like I was, you know, I'm like 4 years younger than you are, Jacob. So whenever Aladdin came out, I was like, Beauty and the Beast came out, and I was like, this is my shit right here. And then Aladdin came out, and I was like, no, this is my shit right here. And then Lion King came out, never mind, take it back. This is my shit. Lion King is the shit. And then I was like, next is Pocahontas, All the Colors of the Wind. Fuck yeah, dude. And then I watched it, and I was like, I think this movie stinks. I was still scared to have the opinion that a movie that came out might not be very good. It was just well, I had to rent it from the video store. It must be good. They had to have taken time to make it. No, Pocahontas stinks.
Does it really stink? I didn't know this.
I think it stinks.
Jaws the Revenge was a big disappointment when I was like 7.
Yeah. Like it's
very disappointed in that one. Still love it. Love the movie. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I can watch it right now with no problem. But it's an awful movie compared to part 1, of course, and the decent part 2.
Yeah,
I just looked it up. That sound I just made. I just looked up. Pocahontas has a 54% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. So, yeah, that's
like
for a movie like that. That's pretty bad. Like
that's the Disney Renaissance. That's like they saved the studio with those animated movies in the 90s, and they thought Pocahontas would be a hit. And even back then, people were like, no, we don't need the gentrification of Pocahontas here. Like things weren't as chill as you're showing them to be. They wanted another Little Mermaid, I think, because it's sort of a love story and all of that. You know, the
Rotten Tomatoes has no critic scores for. Hold on, they've got 2 entries for The Lion King. Okay, yeah, The Lion King 92% critic score. 93% audience score. So big fall off to Pocahontas. I didn't know this. I was 4 when these movies came out, so I was like, it's animals.
It's a cartoon.
The Little Mermaid kicked off the Disney that you grew up with. Before that, they were, they had like Oliver and Company. Was that even a Disney movie? Just stuff like that. But
right, The Great Mouse Detective, which rules.
Great Mouse Detective, the Rescuers and stuff like that. But it wasn't until Little Mermaid that like they made a movie that everybody considered like an absolute fucking classic that just will go down in history. And then The Lion King, of course, after that. And wait, what'd you say the other one was? What was after Little Mermaid?
It goes Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King. So, that's out of the park. That's four.
Those 4 movies. That's all you need right there. But yeah, then Pocahontas and Tarzan and stuff just didn't do as well, and they started falling off a little bit until Pixar happened. And then, was Pixar even related to Disney?
They ended up buying originally. Yeah, they were separate studio. They were together, and then I think Pixar's its own thing now.
Right. Okay.
Because Toy Story is under Disney. Yeah, but
because Toy Story was big again. That was back to big.
But yeah,
Aladdin's a 95 on the tomato meter. Man, it was a big fall off to Pocahontas. They're like, what the fuck happened? I thought we could just slap one of these things together.
I'm telling you, man. It was to get like a 10-year-old not interested in a cartoon that has a talking raccoon in it that's a tough thing to have happen to you. I think I'll go outside and play, I guess, instead of watch this movie. I don't know.
Mom, can I do homework?
Yeah. I'm gonna watch then but on the other end, what a wonderful payoff there was to the Power Rangers movie when I was a kid. Man, was I into Power Rangers.
That was, if you were into Power Rangers, that movie nailed it.
Yeah, they did. Speaking of not doing the opposite of what you should do, like nobody thought, oh, a Power Rangers movie, we should change the formula from the show. It's just a longer episode of the show.
With better effects.
Yeah, with cooler suits.
Yeah, oh, dude. And it had that awesome White Ranger suit. And yeah, dude. Killer stuff, man.
When that movie came out, I was like, "This is cinema." They nailed it.
Ivan Ooze, was that the bad guy?
Give the Oscar to Power Rangers the movie. I think Braveheart won it that year. Which movie do you want to watch? Which movie do you think you have a better time watching?
Oh man, I just found out that the Red Power Rangers a neo-Nazi or something. He was on a podcast just letting a street flag fly, and I'm just like, oh no, God, damn. Yeah, just another dead guy.
Yeah, which one? The OG Jason? One or the second one? Oh man,
yeah,
not Jason the Red Ranger.
Yeah,
that guy killed the guy. He went to prison.
Maybe that's where he learned his favorite pastime.
That tends to happen
sometimes. And I found out that like in prisons, like you get separated into race groups, whether you want to be in one or not most of the time, and it just kind of turns people into hateful racists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like if I had to go to prison, and I'm the idea of trying to like negotiate with the head of the white supremacists and be like, okay, can I put it somewhere? Like I'm gonna get out, man, and I need to be able to get a job. Like, come on, I'm not in here for life. What do you want me to do?
It's probably pretty easy to cover up a swastika. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Maybe that's what we see people with like big, large, weird tattoos. That's what's happening there.
Oh, dude, there are so many covered up swastika tattoos in the world. Yeah. It is unbelievable. I guarantee it. You could turn it into a Ferris wheel, probably.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things you can do.
Well, there was a guy when
I can tell you what I did with mine.
Yeah, when I worked at the video store, a guy came in to try to get a job, and he had like devil horns tattooed at the top of his skull right here, and then he had like killer or something tattooed where his eyebrow should be, and I was like, wow. Look, man,
probably not, but you can leave your resume.
I understand things are tough, and maybe those tattoos do not identify you as the person you are now. However, you're gonna have to talk to kids and stuff. Like I just don't know that you're for the movie gallery. Like nothing against you. You seem nice enough to me right now, but I bet when I tell you don't get this job, maybe the devil horns are indicative of something for your personality. Just nothing I can do about
Hi,
that.
my name is Satan,
Yeah.
and
I think that's kind of like a lot of people getting face tattoos now, and old me would never I'm like, but you couldn't get a job if you do that,
Yeah.
it's sad that we're like stuck to this slavery capitalism so much that we can't do
Yeah.
whatever we want with our bodies, but like that is the first thing that pops in my head. I'm just like, oh, I would love to get a cross on my face, and then I'm just like, oh man, but then I wouldn't have a job.
Mine's
like-
always like, but then I would just always have this on my face.
Well,
like
absolutely. The
like-
tattoos I have, I can't stand them. I wish I wouldn't have gotten them. I got them in my 20s, and now I don't. It's not like I ever look at them and be like, yeah. I'm just like, I got this shit on my arms, basically, and I see pictures of my old arms without the shit on them, and I'm like, oh man, I miss those sweet ass arms of mine.
Yeah.
Just to follow up what Jacob said, the Red Power Ranger that he's talking about is named Austin St. John. And on his Wikipedia, it says that in 2020, or recently, as of 2024, he announced plans to start a controversial clothing line featuring quotes from prominent historical figures, including Adolf Hitler.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Drawing
That's the one. That's the one you can't include.
Drawing fierce condemnation from fans as well as Amy Jo Johnson, the Pink Ranger. Don't want to make the Pink Ranger mad.
Yeah.
He, as of this publication, that's weird on Wikipedia to put that. There's yet to be any appearance of this clothing line. The dude reverse engineered the idea for this clothing line so that he could put Hitler quotes on clothes. He's like, is he not a prominent historical figure? What's the problem?
The Yellow Ranger's rolling over in her grave right now.
Yeah.
He's probably got some fun Jesse Jackson quotes too. Hey, Dusty's, get off your mic a little bit. You're peeking
right.
just a twinge, whatever that word means.
Peeking.
He's the guy that buys the Spencer's T-shirt. What about all the good things Hitler did?
Did they? Spencer's didn't sell that, did they?
Yeah,
I've heard of that.
How come
There's no way Spencer's actually sent that?
I promise you, I've seen the shirt.
That is
I don't,
so
but you've never
rude.
seen it at Spencer's?
Maybe not at Spencer's. I've seen someone wear the shirt, and he buys the majority of his clothing from Spencer's. So maybe I put the two together.
Listen, you gotta not
Spencer's
hang out with
guilty
this guy.
by the association here.
I don't hang out with this guy. He lives in the town that I used to live in. There's only 8,000 people in that town. I'm going to run into that guy from time to time.
The Hitler shirt guy.
Yeah. Well, he's funny T-shirt guy. He has the I shaved my balls for this shirt. Ass, gas, or crap.
Yeah.
No one rides for free.
It won't let me share my screen right now, but I'm looking at funny Hitler T-shirts. There's one.
There's a reason it won't let you share your screen.
Yeah.
there's some interesting ones. There's one of Hitler in a MAGA hat. It's like it's actually a pretty nice pencil drawing. There's one of just like his hair and his.
Dude,
it's just his hair, his mustache, and a tie.
Of something you said recently, like you had something nice to say about the actual art of the Hitler T-shirt, and it sucks when like something that is a drawing of something so horrible is well done. And it reminded me of recently when you were like, it'd be harder to hate Trump if he weren't so damn funny.
Yeah.
It's like he really does. He cracks me the fuck up like often. Like he'll just mumble some stupid shit, and I'll just be like, no one in the world but him could have just put that sentence together.
If you're still just the guy that made The Apprentice on NBC.
Right.
But like the fact that you give the nuke codes to that guy, that's a problem for me as an individual.
Yeah, it was funny when like the billionaire from New York who's been in a million movies and is just famous for being a rich dickhead was fat shaming Rosie O'Donnell on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, fat shaming isn't the nicest thing to do in the world, but it was a ridiculous thing to see. You know, and you're just
it's just ridiculous that he was even doing it. Yeah, just the way he talks about people like unnecessary. Like recently, he gets sued by that lady for the sexual assault, gets a $5 million fine and a rule where they're like, you can never speak her name again, keep her name out of your mouth. That day, he speaks her name again at a rally, gets sued for like $80 million now because of that. And they say, and again, keep her name out of your mouth. And he literally is back at it again before even paying the $85 million. And I saw an interview with his, like her lawyer, and she's like, they're like, are you going to sue again? She was even baffled. She's like, I don't even know. She's like, I don't understand.
I feel bad for the guy.
Do. Yeah, you're up against a maniac. Like
it's not a deterrent.
Yeah,
right. You're not stopping him here.
Yeah. Quick correction on my part. Correction corner. The Austin St. John did not kill someone. He just wants to put Hitler quotes on shirts. The former Power Ranger Ricardo Medina Jr. pleads guilty to killing his roommate with a sword.
Hell yeah, dude. With a sword.
A sword.
The reason I was confused is because Medina, who we all remember, played the Red Lion Wild Force Ranger on Power Ranger Wild Force.
I was out of it by then.
From 2002 to 2003. Of course he did. So you could see my confusion. And he played Power Ranger Samurai, which, not funny that he killed a guy with a sword. Funny that he was on a show where he played a samurai.
Yep,
man,
that's life imitating art right there. Man.
Yeah,
I've been trying to make a Medea joke this whole time.
Andrew just got that joke factory cranking in.
He's just
the conversation stops and he just starts thinking.
Medina goes to jail. That's what this story is called.
That was good.
There we go. There it is.
It was worth the effort.
I had to Google Medea movie titles because I was like, is this Medea or Ernest?
No.
Ernest also went to jail.
Yeah.
He went to camp too, though. I don't think Medea ever went to camp.
I gotta watch more Ernest movies, man. Ernest Goes to Jail was just so much fun. The damn pen when he was, he's on the jury and his pen breaks.
Yeah,
chewing on the pen.
That's a timeless bit. That's good.
It's
Anytime that's in a movie, that's funny.
It's so good,
dude. Those first 4 Ernest movies are my happy place, man. Like that's if I ever just having a bad fucking day and just need to smile, I'll just turn that on, and usually by 30 minutes, my day's better.
I will say that Jim Varney probably should have turned down Ernest Goes to Africa, but
yeah.
It was a different time, Dusty.
Once again, I was out of it by then.
But Ernest Goes to School, classic. Ernest Goes to Camp, fantastic.
Have we seen Ernest Goes to Africa? Because
no, I've seen Ernest Goes to Africa.
Those first four that went to the first 4 that went to theaters, I watched, and then the second one came to only home video, which was School, was the first one. I was like, I'm good. Because I'm like those movies are already those movies are already of questionable actual quality. But if you're sending one straight to video and don't trust it to go to the theaters, I don't think I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
The entirety of Ernest Goes to Africa is on YouTube. I'll watch that before I watch Cotner because I just got to see what's going on. Because is it worse than Ace Ventura 2? Because Dusty, you love Ernest, you love Ace Ventura 2. You think that might be the funniest movie ever made?
When I was 11, I thought it might be the funniest movie ever made.
You still go to bat for that movie, dog.
Look, there are parts of I'm sure there are funny parts of Ernest Goes to Africa. Can you see the cover of Ernest Goes to Africa right now?
I can see the cover. He's just wearing a mask, dude. But there does appear. I'm looking. I see a picture. There does appear to be a little bit of blackface in this movie,
which you cannot say about Ernest. Which you cannot say about Ace Ventura 2.
Hey, what are we
Rhino's butt?
Yeah, that was just poop on his face.
Yeah,
that is true.
Actually, the whole plot is kind of poop, babe. It's the what do they call it? The guano.
The guano plot.
Yeah.
Man, that was a decent movie. The first one, though, I mean, it's got the shark.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got so many good bits. Even though I think now it's kind of frowned upon for the trans stuff. I'm not sure. I've heard people say the first Ace Ventura movie is canceled.
Yeah, there's just a couple of there's the part where the trans person, the trans woman, kisses the detective and everybody pukes. So but it was such a small part of the movie that I understand having an issue with that thing. But I don't know if that should represent the entire movie. But to each his or her own. You know,
I agree, and that's not enough for me. you know, even though
Yeah.
like, that's the thing. I lived through the 90s. So at the time, everybody like, you know, and there was such an ignorance in the world, like to things like that, because you didn't run into it everywhere you went. And so like anybody, like my dad grew up, like I grew up in a town with no black people. And so, you know, like what I'm saying is like everybody
Yeah.
was really brave about how they spoke about black people and had their ideas about
Yeah.
what black people were like. But when an actual black person came around, you know, like they didn't know what to do with themselves, and they were usually pretty nice to them. And I always call it polite racism. And they always leave, and then they go, man, that person was really nice for a black guy. You know what I'm saying? But like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's like this cultural thing. Like back then, of course, like, you know, nowadays people are way more, I guess, you know, open to ideas about everything. And you know, back in the 90s, man, that joke landed. You know, because everybody was like, yeah, that's really a man. You know, but you know, now you're like, oh, I see where that's insensitive to say.
Well, and
Yeah, it was just fodder. Everything was fodder. You know
well,
what I
and you
mean?
think like we'll talk about it. We'll talk about the band later, you know. But there was like a huge thing about Kurt Cobain wearing dresses on stage
Right.
and like cross dressing and stuff, and people like freaking out
Yeah.
about that. Something as innocuous as that, you know. And it was just the the
Dave
internet
Navarro.
didn't exist, so
Right, the internet. You were just stuck with whatever got put in front of your eyes, and you
yeah.
didn't know anything else about the world. When Anthony Kiedis and Dave Navarro were kissing in the Warped video, that Chili Peppers video, people lost their fucking minds, like because they liked the Chili Peppers, and the Chili Peppers were like a macho band, and these two dudes are making out, like they're making out hard in that video, like it's
Yeah.
crazy. Um,
The
that challenged a lot of people.
Or I read a thing recently, Laura Dern, you know, famous for Jurassic Park and other things. Laura Dern's a great actress. She played the love interest in the episode of Ellen where Ellen comes out as a lesbian. And
Oh,
she's like, people told me not to do that because it would tank my career. And then she said for a while she couldn't get, no one was offering her parts, which seemed insane because she was in these huge Jurassic Park movies and a
yeah.
couple of other things that were really big. But it was like, oh, you played a lesbian on TV, so now we can't let you be in these other movies. Like it's a weird situation.
It's been cool seeing people open up. I think the internet totally changed the world. I mean, that's not even a question. Uh, it's really weird going and living both lives. You know, living the life where you know nothing about the world and you can't even access information other than like Hollywood movies and whatever's on the three channels you have. That was my whole life. I didn't even have cable, so it was like video stores or the three channels I had, and that is
Yeah.
all the information I could get. Books, I
Well,
guess, you know, but I didn't want to read those.
even having to explain to my wife, I was watching some old wrestling last night and was surprised that I was doing that.
Yeah.
And
Wow. I can't believe it.
Wrestling? You?
Yeah, that's
even
weird.
me. The character, the Godfather, came on, and the Godfather is a pimp.
Yeah.
He's
He
a
comes
straight
out with a bunch of hoes.
he's a straight up like they're not even pretending that he's not a pimp. He comes out with women, and then he gets in the ring and he's offering the women in exchange for not having to wrestle the match. He's like, I'm tired, I don't want to have to wrestle. What if I give you these three bitches tonight? And my wife is like, what is and people are cheering the Godfather. We love this pimp so much. He's our favorite pimp. And I was like, she was like, what is this? And I was like, yeah, he's a babyface pimp. I don't know what to tell you. You know, he's going to partner up with a porn star who is also a babyface later on. And the heels are going to be people that want conservative things on television. People are going to boo the shit out of those people.
Well, it was counterculture, and back in the day, in that time, pimps were huge. Like Snoop Dogg was a pimp. Cat Williams was a pimp. Like pimping was, for some reason, like even Lil Jon got into that shit, you know, and Exhibit, you know, it was for some reason we got it stuck in our heads as a society that the coolest thing you could be in the world was a pimp, was a man that sold other women for sex. And all being a pimp meant was you wore big suits and had a cool mug that you drank things out of, and you had a purple car.
Like I think of stuff like that, and I think of like the first molecule created on Earth, and then it spread into more atoms and molecules and created water and algae and all that stuff, and then you fast forward and it's pimping's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, you can't. That's that meme where with dominoes, there's dominoes going up. There's one guy knocking down the first domino, and it's like life splits from single-celled organisms, and then the last one is pimping is the coolest thing in the world.
That'd be a good meme.
I just couldn't. I'm in an impossible situation. How do you explain to someone who's never seen it that it's not insane? Because it truly was insane. I was like, yes, he's the good guy, and yes, he will become the Intercontinental Champion based off the popularity of being a pimp. And every town he goes to, he finds different women, and then those women are hoes, and everybody's super stoked about it.
Since we're talking about pimps, I'll bring up Hustle and Flow because I found out something recently from Terrence Howard. You guys seen that movie?
I haven't seen it. I'm sure Dusty's
Andrew,
seen it.
Please.
I've heard it's good.
That's a great movie.
Great movie. But I think Terrence Howard, he either made $6,000 or $16,000 for that movie. Being the lead character in that movie, made only a few $1,000s for that role. And then he has songs that he rapped in the movie that have since gone on to be pretty big on the soundtrack and big on streaming and stuff like that. And his character in the movie is named DJ. And since on the soundtrack it said those songs are by DJ, Terrence Howard don't get a dime for any of that stuff. So he really they profited largely off of this man for this movie. And he got paid a measly few $1,000s, which is just crazy to me. Because I used to think, I'm friends with some people that used to work with Kevin Smith. Vincent Pereira is one of them. I talked to him a lot. And he was like, if you listen to the Dogma commentary, he's in the movies, you listen to the Dogma commentary, he's on there, sitting there talking about the movie with them, he was a big part of that first, 5 or 6 movies. And he straight up he'll show pictures of his check on his Facebook, and he'll get a check for $1.37 every once in a while for this stuff. And he's asking people to borrow gas money and stuff like that. And I'm just I really used to think that if you get yourself in a few decent films, you're just set for life. But even Kirsten Dunst recently, they asked her if she'd do another superhero movie, and she was like, "I'm struggling. Of course I would. That's a huge paycheck." She's like, "I have kids." She's struggling, man. She's Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah. You figure.
So I saw it. It was $12,000 for Terrence Howard for Hustle and Flow.
My God.
You figure
That's
you've
not
got
much.
mailbox money for life is what they call it. This is you're getting residuals forever, and it's
exactly.
The deals for all those things. It depends. I read a similar thing about Halle Berry won the Oscar for Monsters Ball, right? But she was like, I didn't get paid anything to be in that movie because they couldn't pay me to be in that movie, but they were offering me this lead role, and it's the way that you do the math is well, I take this job for no money, but if I get a lot of recognition and fame from it, then I'll get cast in this other movie where I can make all of my money. But she's like, after I won the Oscar, becoming, I think at the time, maybe the first African-American woman to ever win lead actress, she got no offers. And so that's why she ends up doing Catwoman after being in Monsters Ball. And everybody's like, why would Halle Berry be in Catwoman? How terrible that movie is. And she's like, but I'm an actress, so they paid me to be in a... Those are the only people coming to the door right now.
Well, because we used to naively think, well, that person has millions of dollars. Why would they need to do something they don't want to do? And it's not like that, You reminded me with Halle Berry. I recently read a story about her. When they were making X-Men 3, that was after she won her Oscar. And so she didn't want to do X-Men 3. So she said, I don't want to do it unless Storm has a bigger part, because Storm's kind of a side character in both the first movies. And they wrote a version of they hired a person, and the person that wrote the script came forward and said this stuff. They hired a person to write a version of the X-Men Last Stand script that included 30 minutes basically devoted to Storm. And gave her, and that was the only one copy of that script existed, and that was the one they gave to Halle Berry and said, see, you're in it a lot. Yeah. And then by the time she's on set in costume and she's like, where are all those scenes? They're like, oh, we had to cut those scenes for time. And she's in the movie anyway, and they were able pay her less because she thought she was going to be in it a lot and la la la, and she was so mad. She'll never do another thing for those people again.
They'll run you down. That's why they talk about Martin Lawrence. Remember when Chappelle did the Inside the Actors Studio?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
When Chappelle disappeared, he came back. He like flew into town and he got interviewed by James Lipton, and then immediately left. And he was talking about how the industry will make you crazy. And he's like, you guys really think? Well, you think Martin Lawrence is just going to end up like on the Hollywood lot in his underwear with a gun, screaming, "They're trying to kill me"? He's
Right.
like, you don't think something might have happened?
Right.
Or Mariah Carey, like Mariah Carey goes crazy after she signs her like $100 million record deal or whatever the thing was. Whenever she went through her meltdown,
I didn't even know she had a meltdown.
Oh, she did. She showed up on TRL unannounced, really drunk, and that's on YouTube, and it's pretty funny. Even though Carson Daly you can tell he's kind of concerned. Actually, he's like, "Mariah, are you okay? What are you doing here?" You know, like, and Mariah's like, and she starts taking her clothes off and stuff. She had a moment, but that was actually when her, the record label executive, I forget what his name, Tony something or
Tommy Mottola.
Tommy Mottola. When he discovered her when she was a teenager, and there is a spicy little rumor that she was an escort when he discovered her. And he just found out she could sing and turned her into a star and married her. And she was very young when that happened. And then he basically treated her like crap, cheated on her, used her for her voice all the time, made her do things she didn't want to do, and then dumped her. And that was right when she had her meltdown and started getting drunk all the time and just basically had him. Yeah, Mariah Carey's had a rough life, dude.
I remember she drank because of Superman, Eminem, the Eminem song. He says a couple things. He says, "I'll what does he say? Get your drunk ass on that runway, ho, and then I'll slap you off that bar stool." I think he says.
Eminem.
You know, there's all kinds of crazy stories. It always makes you wonder because he's like, I'm still guilty of this. You know, like you see a band or you see a flyer for like some mid-state fair, something, and you're like, why is Stained playing this thing? Don't they have like hit records and hit albums and stuff? And they're like, well, the dudes in Stained they're just working the way everybody else is, unless you're incredibly popular and become incredibly famous and have the right kind of splits for your royalties and stuff. Like if you're in a band, you're just a dude working in a band.
Al Pacino's doing commercials for Dunkin' Donuts. Like you just
but Pacino's got a new kid, so I think he does.
Both of them.
Yeah, him and De Niro. So he's
gonna
get that money.
The guy
that Serpico money dried up.
Richard Patrick from Filter, he was in Nine Inch Nails when he started out, and when he did the Pretty Hate Machine, and then he did that whole tour, and then I think he helped make Burn and did that tour, and then there was a long period between when Trent was making the Downward Spiral, and Richard was like, I went over to his house and I'm like, hey man, I don't have any money, you know, I'm just a side guy, you get all the money for writing the songs, and if we're not touring, I don't get any money. And either the manager or Trent Reznor told him, actually recommended him to a pizza place down the street that he's like, I know the guy, they'll hire you. And he's like, you're not going to let me go from being in Nine Inch Nails and then on my break I'm delivering people pizzas and they recognize me and stuff like that. And that was why he wrote hey man, nice shot, and started Filter, because he's like, if the singer gets all the money, I'll just be that guy. And so he started his own band. It did okay. And
that's such a cold thing for fucking Trent Reznor.
I know. He's not like,
he's like, listen, I know the guy who owns Shakey's Pizza down the street.
I deliver a lot of pizzas. They're thinking of naming one the Downward Spiral after me.
It's like, I order from there all the time. You could deliver to me.
I'll see you more often. Trent is just in his mansion in the darkest room of his mansion with crows all around him, making music.
Well, the thing I would recommend,
empty pizza boxes.
The thing I would recommend, what kind of sound can I get off of this? March of the Pigs originally played on pizza boxes. The thing that I would recommend to people that are interested in this sort of thing is the Billy Corgan interview on Joe Rogan was incredibly sort of transparent from Billy Corgan, where he's like, you know, you get signed to a label, or the label takes you out, but they take you out because you're the singer and you're the guy who writes the songs. And originally you're like, there's 5 of us, and it's the 5 of us against the label or whatever. And then the label gets you by yourself, and they start talking about, well, are you going to take your songwriting percentage down? If everybody co-wrote the songs together, then everybody is going to have to get credit, and then everybody gets some of the money. Did you write the songs, or did you and James and Darcy and Jimmy Chamberlain all write the songs? It's like, well, I guess I wrote the songs. Okay, well, then you're going to get the publishing rights. So that's more money for you. But you can't tell the other people in your band that you're going to get that money, because then they're going to get jealous, and then you're not going to have a band anymore. Like the dynamics of them even trying to split the people up, because you'd like to think if the 4 of us or the 3 of us were in a band, like we'd all 3 want even distribution of the thing. That seems fair. But then they come to somebody and they're like, well, the other guy, he just plays drums. What did he didn't write any of the composition.
Yep.
So
yeah, and then I'm like, Dusty has inexpensive taste. He's a very affable, agreeable man.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, I think, are Red Hot Chili Peppers, Pearl Jam, and I want to say Blink all get paid equally. And there's only a few bands that do that. And that's why a lot of people leave bands, like, you know, because you'll be like, oh my God, that amazing, like Nigel from Bush, for example, that guy left that band, and you'd think that he was a core part of their sound, and their music hasn't been good since, if you ask me. It's not great since, I guess. But, you know, like he was, you know, a core part of their sound, but Gavin's getting all the money, you know? So like he was just like, I could just go get a job and be with my family and make, you know, either more money or, you know, like equal money. And that's a bummer.
And it makes go ahead, Jacob.
Oh, go ahead. I didn't have a point. Go ahead.
Sorry. It makes sense for Blink too, because like it's the only band where the drummer is at least as famous as the other 2 guys, and arguably more people know Travis Barker than know Mark Hoppus's name. You know what I mean?
No.
I see lives where Mark Hoppus is live and people are just walking past him and they don't even recognize him. Like people at shows,
looks like somebody's dad. You know?
Yeah, he was yelling at them. He was playing at a smaller venue right next to this giant venue that Taylor Swift was playing at, and he was in the Taylor Swift venue, and people were walking past him. He's like, "You should go see Blink. We're playing right next door." And people are just looking at him like he's crazy, and they don't even understand that's fucking Blink-182 standing right there.
Yep. I was watching a thing with Dave Grohl. He was on Howard Stern one time with Taylor Hawkins, and of course Howard Stern and his like. By the way, I do not like people talk about how great an interviewer Howard Stern is. I don't think that dude interviews well at all.
No, he just plays a super ignorant guy who tries to push you towards things. You know what I mean?
I disagree with you, Dusty, and that's the answer right there. Because like, the fact that he is so naive still, even after knowing as much as he does, or at least plays it like that, it gets people to, as a person that interviews people, it gets people to open up more. And I really think some of the questions he asks, because he'll ask questions like he had he had somebody on there recently. I think it was John Frusciante, and like he started asking him about his pedal board, and nobody does that. And you know, so like John's like, oh, this pedal does this and this, and you know, that's stuff us fans want. We're like, yes, tell me how you achieve these sounds, yes.
Right.
And so yeah, I like Howard Stern for that kind of reason. Like he asks questions that most people, you know, it's not the typical, so what's different from this album than the last album?
Right.
Or, you know, what's it like going on tour, you know? And
or I guess he seems to me to like cut people off. That's the thing I don't like about his interviewing style. At least in this Dave Grohl clip, he seems to really be like, anytime Dave Grohl starts talking, he starts asking him some other thing, or he seems to be being a real asshole about like, you know, all the Kurt Cobain stuff. This is finally, I think, when Dave was finally talking about being in Nirvana and Kurt and everything. And he's like, how much money did you have when Nirvana broke up? And Dave's like, I don't know, man. he's like $12 million, $30 million. And he's like, no, what? He's like, you know, we sold a lot of records, but I am just the drummer. He's like, I don't know, like $8 million, and then Dave's talking about how like the Foo Fighters, they don't need to care about some aspect like being commercially successful or something. And Taylor Hawkins is sitting there and he's like, well, I don't know, I could be commercial, I could do with being more commercially successful, because
he looks at
that
him
point,
and goes, you had $8 million?
and I figured Taylor Hawkins, like I figured the dudes in the Foo Fighters are pulling in huge money, but I still, I guess, not relative to Nirvana money.
Well, they got to pay so many people, and Nirvana didn't have a crew that big. Nirvana was still playing smaller places when Kurt died. Like they were in the theater phase of their career, and not the arena phase. But like Foo Fighters now, I think they get $5 million per show, and but I mean that pays everybody. Like it's a big ordeal for the Foo Fighters to come to town.
Yeah,
I saw them recently actually, and they were fucking amazing. Their new drummer is, I mean, he ain't no Taylor Hawkins, but he's just as good, and his sound is like thunderous. I mean, like
Josh Freese is no joke. Yeah, Josh Freese is no joke, and I think it's interesting to see now live stuff, because I think it's exciting for the band too, because he doesn't play all the parts that Taylor would play. He plays different stuff,
different style of player, and I always, as a fan, appreciate those because I get to hear kind of a different interpretation of music I love. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's really cool for me and I love that the nuances, like two different drummers, they're both really doing the same thing, but the sound is completely different, and that is why this shit is awesome. I love this stuff.
Well, and I think you're inclined, it would seem from what I know about you, to enjoy, because Josh Freese played on the Nine Inch Nails record. He played on Perfect Circle Records. Like he's the guy for all of that stuff. Like
we've been listening to him for years. He's on a lot of stuff.
He's sneaky.
He played drums on Whip It by Devo.
Yeah,
I mean, like, So
cool.
He
really? That's pretty sick.
And I saw him with the Vandals. He played with everybody.
Did you say that recently? Yeah, he really, like, dude. They gave him a couple solo spots in the show, and my jaw was on the floor. And I saw the Foos with Taylor too. Taylor's amazing. He's one of those guys where I'm like, I hear 3 arms. Like this guy has 3 arms. I'm hearing 3 arms, even though I see a guy with 2 arms. And
that's how Keith Moon is for me.
It's amazing.
Like, and even like seeing Keith Moon, he looks like Vishnu, where like it's just all over the place. There's just shit going on everywhere, and like they're different drummers, but that's how I kind of see him.
I love watching Keith Moon, and I hate watching Keith Moon, because everything that they teach you or that they tell you that you shouldn't do playing drums is the exact thing Keith Moon is doing at any particular level.
Like horse tranquilizers.
Well, there's a whole class. There's a whole part of the class when you decide to be a drummer where they tell you not to put explosives in the bass drum. Like, don't take any horse tranks and stuff. But no, like there's a bunch of live tape where he doesn't even have a goddamn hi-hat. It's just like
he loves cymbals.
Yeah, there's 2 crash. There's a crash cymbal, a ride cymbal, and the regular drum set, and he's just like all the parts you would play on a hi-hat, he's playing on the crash cymbal, which doesn't make any sense for what you would normally think about, But that's why he can do it, and nobody else sounds like Keith Moon, because he's the guy who could do that. But they would never in a class be like, hey, here's what you should do: eliminate the hi-hat from your playing.
Have you ever heard of the presidents of the United States of America? I'm sure, like those guys, they don't play guitars or bass. They play a git bass and a bass guitar. And one guy has 3 strings on his guitar, which are the 3 bottom strings, the lowest ones. And he's the bass guy.
Fucking weirdos.
That's the bass guitar. And then the git bass is literally 2 strings up the middle of the neck. So it's like where the D and G strings would be, but there's no other strings on the guitar, and they make all that noise. And that's even on the record, that's what they're doing. And
it's so weird.
There's a live clip of them from Mount Rushmore that MTV aired, and you can really see it, and it's really amazing. Like those guys, what a limitation, right? Like nobody ever tell you to do that. And Max Calavera from Sepultura. That guy, he only plays with 4 strings on his guitar, and it's always been that way. He's like, I don't use the others, so I just don't put them on.
Yeah. I'm looking at a picture of the presidents of the United States of America, and you're right. This guy's got like an Epiphone SG bass with 2 strings on it. That's crazy. They do have all three of them. There's 3 guys, and none of them have all the strings on their guitars. Guys, you've got money. Well, they probably don't have a whole lot of money.
It's not
They
about
had
the money.
Lump,
That's
right?
just how they created it. Yeah, they had Lump and Peaches. People forget about Peaches, but Peaches was a big hit.
Well, that album, that self-titled Presidents of the United States album, that album is awesome.
Great record.
The whole thing is awesome. But I remember hearing years ago that the guitar player for At the Drive-In and Mars Volta, like he's an immigrant from Cuba, I think. And when he came to America, he had taught himself to play guitar, but he had never learned the tunings. So his guitar wasn't in standard tuning. He just would tune it to where it sounded good for him.
Right.
And then and so like the early At the Drive-Ins records, everyone's like, what is the tuning for any of these songs? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Or he was treating the guitar as like a completely foreign instrument from what you would normally do with it. And that's why it sounded so cool.
My first band,
I'm sure he knows the tuning now, but
we didn't own a tuner, and we like nothing we ever did was actually in tune.
Is that deprivation?
Yeah. I didn't have a tuner. I'd just turn it until it sounded right, and then that's good.
There we go.
I found out years later we were actually in like C standard or something. You know, like we were in a note. But
just not a one that anybody writes songs in normally.
Yeah. When I first started playing guitar, I didn't have a tuner or anything like that, and I just kind of pluck on it and play with it. And then I called a friend that had a guitar, and I was like, "Hey, I figured this thing out on guitar," and I played him something, and he goes, "What tuning are you in?" And I was like, "Tuning." and then I remember sitting on the phone with him. He's like, "Okay, here's an E," and he'd play an E on his guitar, and I'd match it over the phone. And that was the first time I'd ever tuned my guitar. I would have to call him if I needed to tune my guitar.
That is a Paul McCartney ass story. Because remember Paul McCartney said that he would find out that some kid down the street learned a new chord, so he'd get on the bus and he'd go to the other side of town just to learn the new chord.
Once I realized what certain albums were in standard tuning, I could just turn on that album, and like Metallica a lot, you could just tune to the E, and then then your guitar's in tune. But I didn't have an actual tuner most of my young life. Even through my 20s, I didn't even have a tuner.
That's great. So that was a great preamble to the main event here.
It was about music.
We're an hour in.
So we got to a lot of music.
And everything.
Stuff
we just covered the whole gamut of.
Talked about everybody but Squirrel Nut Zippers.
Yeah. Toad the Wet Sprocket.
We have a couple of items of business. We had a previous bracket for Mark's Madness, which is the rap song bracket. We've got the final 4 going on with that. Jacob, did you listen to the rap songs?
I have surveyed these rap songs.
Jacob has surveyed the rap songs. Good. And then we've got we're going to start the big alternative rock bracket. And Dusty, I want to let you know, I have already booked a guest for our next one. I apologize, I did not ask you, but I'm just putting you on the spot here. Okay. Next week, I say we have Kai on, and we do female pop songs.
Okay.
Oh,
we do the Lady Gagas, the Taylor Swifts, the Beyonces, all that jazz. Yeah. So she has already accepted. So
well, you already no choice. So great. Yeah.
I'm glad you agree. Thank you. I knew you'd see it my way. But so we hadn't coined the name of this segment by last week. I was editing the episode and I realized that we were fucking up not calling it Mark's Madness because we were tying it into March Madness, and our name is the Snark Marks. Is that correct, Dusty? That's
correct. You said huge error. We should have called it the Smart Marks. Or the Smarks Madness,
Mark's Madness. Yeah. So I've got every segment of this caliber needs like a stinger.
Yeah.
It needs like some sort of, not a full-on theme song, but something that starts out the segment. So I made a few. Okay, I made 5 of them, and I want to play them for you one at a time.
Okay.
Obviously, it'd be weird if I played them all at the same time. And I want you guys to help me decide which one we should use for the show. Okay.
Can't wait. Yeah.
So this one is the first one is kind of a little primer, little easy one, So here we go. March Madness.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Okay, so that's the first one.
Serves a purpose.
I have a website where I could get a bunch of for the radio, a bunch of those stupid.
Don't pull back the Wizard of Oz curtain.
Yeah.
All
right. This is the second one.
No,
this is the second one. This is number 2. It was my voice.
Oh, okay.
I recorded the voice, but oh my God, that's amazing! Is from the radio thing.
Oh, I thought that was your voice.
This one's a little different.
The Smart Marks Podcast presents Marks Madness.
I'm a fan of that one. I
Yeah,
like
that's doing something else. Yeah.
That girl was in quite a bit of pain.
Yeah, she died.
Yeah, that girl died. She gave her life for that stinger. So this is are you guys ready for the third one?
Yeah, let's rock. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad that's appropriate thing to say before this one.
Marks Madness!
You know
like
you're about to
one.
play the other
I like
two.
that one, yeah.
I was thinking that might be.
I'm so sorry.
That might be the one you guys picked.
I'm so sorry to the other two, but
yeah,
They're gonna have to do a lot of work.
I did spend time on the other two. But
Yeah.
So we're gonna play
if you
them.
want to play them, go ahead. But
yeah, this one is like it's like if a YouTuber it was introducing Marks Madness.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So here we go. This is Marks Madness.
Nope.
I gotta let the whole thing play.
Nope.
So I got the YouTuber music. No.
if we were doing a walking tour of the city, then
Oh,
that
Yeah,
would be
that was
cool.
like a Mr. Beast intro.
Yeah.
So this one, I listen. I had to pull some strings for this one. Okay, I got a celebrity cameo for this one. So let's see how it
Corey
goes. Okay?
Feldman?
That dude, I looked it up. He's not on there. I was pissed, bro. He's one of the first ones I looked up. Actually, this is the first one I looked up.
Yo, what up, y'all? This is R. Kelly, the Pied Piper.
But
Don't bring that evil around here.
I knew if I put it in, Jacob wasn't going to vote for it, so I took it out. But here it is.
Hey, it's Taylor Swift, and you're listening to
Marks Madness.
the #1 hit music station.
I don't know why she called us a music station.
Yeah.
I think that's funny that exists.
Yeah.
Play the third one for me again.
Play the third one
Yeah,
again.
the third one again. Third.
Marks Madness!
I had to try to sing that. Quietly because I live in an apartment building.
Great job. Great job.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that
That
has
made
to
it
be.
funnier, I think.
Yeah. The little bit of restraint you can tell is useful. It's got to
I
be.
didn't plan the yow.
Yeah.
I didn't plan the yow. Just this was an ad lib.
You felt it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be the Scorpions one for me.
Okay. All right. We officially have a Marks Madness stinger. And then it was just funny. I was looking through this website that has it's so stupid that you could just get, hey, this is Taylor Swift. You're listening to the #1 hit music station, and then just put your own. You hear it all the time.
I look forward to seeing you at my next show.
There's
Listen
a
to
scene
win.
in Some Kind of Monster where this Metallica has to do that for a radio station, and they're really pissed off about it, and they're just making fun of it and saying really stupid stuff. I think it's lame.
Yeah.
I think it's lame that they, because I mean, you're Metallica, just do the thing. Shut up. Obviously, you need to be on these radio stations. Just do it. And
yeah, it just sucks.
They're about to
at
play
the
Saint
station-
Anger. You owe them the.
that's true, and that is true.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Basically, they were like, "Here's our new song." They're like, "Could you do these things for us, and we'll play your new song?" And then they're like, "What the fuck? We're Metallica, man. We shouldn't have to bend over to you guys."
I just feel like it gets in the way of the artistic expression. That's my Lars.
That's pretty good. That's pretty decent, Lars.
You're listening to Portland's only metal station. It's me, Jason Newsted.
I don't know, guys. I don't know, guys. I just feel like this is stock.
Oh my god,
dude! About once a year, I watch Some Kind of Monster in two
so
parts.
Good.
It's so good every single time.
that was the
it
first
is like
look. That and the Osbournes was the first kind of peek into actual rock stars' real lives, because before that, like we had Metallica videos where they were in the studio and having fun all the time, but that was the first time we ever got a fight. That was the first time we ever got a therapy session. That was the first thing, and like
the therapy
the way that shit happened, because that crew came in there to basically just record the DVD that was going to come with Saint Anger, the making of Saint Anger, and then they started fighting, and that crew was just like, what do we do? Do we keep rolling? And they're like, just keep filming, just do whatever. And then it's in the movie where like James goes, after one big fight, James goes off to rehab, and then he comes back and they're like, should we keep filming or what? And James does not want to, and they're just telling him, they're like, the stuff we got is so compelling, your fans are going to love it. And it was a breakthrough moment in music, because like nobody had ever seen that level of, I mean, because like James doesn't come off looking like a good person in that movie, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, everybody stinks except Kurt Hammett. He's the only cool guy in the whole movie.
Like, come on, guys, let's just go in there and play this out. Come on, And
Trujillo is just like, he's just a nice dude that is so stoked to be in Metallica.
It's like two different movies, because there's the one part of the movie where it's like the most giant band in the world is falling apart, and like Jacob said, like they had all the MTV specials and they had all these things, but the bands generally had some say, I think, in what goes into those things.
Right.
And this is a thing where they hired an outside documentarian, so they're not in control of what's being filmed or how it's going to be edited or any of that stuff. So you get to really see like, oh shit, maybe being in a band isn't the most, why all these bands break up all the time? And it's like, well, you're around all the same people all the time, and you have difference of opinion, and like you don't get to really like each other that much. And then the second half of the movie is like a Make-A-Wish for Robert Trujillo, who's some dude.
So adorable. Yeah.
We're going to give you $1 million.
He really saved the band too, because like the reason they play like deep cuts now that they stopped playing years ago are because of him. Like he'd start playing it in rehearsal and they'd be like, what's that? And he's like, you wrote that. And he's like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's fight fire with fire, you asshole.
Exactly. Yeah. And so
my favorite part of Some Kind of Monster is when they start to like have internal rumblings about the fact that their therapist thinks he's in the band.
My god, that got so
they're like,
man.
Yeah, and then they have to break up with their therapist, and he's like, "Well, you know what? Maybe I just go on the road with you a little bit." And they're like, "No,
they're like the fifth member of Metallica."
You're really awkward.
My favorite is Bob Rock, who's like their guy, but he's like he's playing bass in all the sessions because Jason's gone. So I can't, I can't say that this is 100%, but there might have been something in the back of Bob Rock's head where he's like, maybe I'm the bass player for Metallica, because the whole time he's going, well, you guys shouldn't settle on somebody, But it seems like last time you were pretty hasty to replace Cliff, and now you got stuck. So maybe we don't rush in and get a new bass player,
We're
who
having
plays
some
bass.
pretty good chemistry in the studio.
Who plays bass? Old Bob Rock over here sure does.
Yeah, and it's so crazy how Jason leaving triggered all that, because like, imagine you go from like being 18, you just started a band, you and this little Danish dude that you knew, and you guys take off so fucking fast, and for like 20 years, everybody's telling you yes, and everybody's just trying to move you to the next gig and telling you you're amazing and you're just the best, and you have no time to grow as a person, and because you're just constantly doing that thing and also being praised. Getting George Lucas syndrome, you know what I'm saying? And and then like that was Jason leaving was literally like when James finally realized he was an asshole, because like Jason just wanted to have this band called Echo Brain, and if you listen to the band, it was no threat to Metallica, no threat.
Right.
But James was furiously jealous of anyone having any outside projects, because they might eclipse Metallica or take away from Metallica. And Jason was
insane at that moment. Like the Black Album's come out. Echo Brain doesn't have a Black Album.
Exactly. Yeah, and the way James looked at it, like you're in the biggest band in the world. Why would you even not want to just work on this all the time? And Jason's the type of guy that like during these 6 months breaks, he wants to. He doesn't want to just sit on his ass. He wants to play. And James didn't want him to, and he quit. And like that made all that shit happen. So anyway, we're still talking about music, at least, Andrew.
Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm enjoying this. So I have a question though. Based on the conversation earlier, was Newsted the singer-songwriter of Echo Brain?
No.
Oh,
I think
shit.
He just
I was
played
wondering
bass.
if he was going to something. Yeah.
It was because after the Black Album, Metallica toured insane. Of course you do. Off the back of that, like 2 years of touring, and then they took a huge break, and then Load came out, and then Reload came out, and then they were in the middle of another sort of long break after touring. And Jason was like, "Everybody has kids, everybody's married. I'm not, so I have nothing else to do. So I'm just gonna like make music on the side."
And it was teenagers he was in a band with that lived down the street from him. Echo Brain was 2 teenagers and Jason Newsted.
Yeah, it's
Imagine you're a teenager and James Hetfield
is a little bit jealous.
There's a scene in Some Kind of Monster where Bob Rock and Lars Ulrich go to an Echo Brain show, and Kirk Hammett.
Oh yeah.
And they all go, and at the end, like Lars is losing his mind. He's like, Echo Brain's the future, Metallica's the past. And he's seriously like really distraught about this, and just because they had a successful club gig, and
there's like 30 people at this gig, which hey, it's great for them, they're playing or whatever. But it was literally Jason Newsted just being like, when Metallica's not doing something, I just want to do this thing. That's it.
I'm just having fun.
I'm just hanging out. And they were like, no, because at any moment we need to not be able to. We need you to record bass and then turn it down so low that we can't hear it. Like that's that was the other thing.
We could hear Jason by the time he quit. You know, like Load and Reload had amazing bass,
but he they always treated him like they were. It's always sort of felt like they were mad at him that Cliff died.
Oh, and see, that was the thing too. Like they never mourned Cliff. They hired a guy like a month after his funeral and started working again, and they just treated Jason like shit. And Jason just took it because he's in Metallica. He was like, I don't care what happens to me. Every day I get up and play a Metallica show. He's like, so they can be as mean to me as they want to. And, they're not always mean to me, And it was Metallica's been one of the best stories for a band, I guess. I mean, even James, like he used to be he was raised by a very racist and bigoted man, and his parents were Christian Scientists, and they didn't believe in going to the doctor, and they both died of cancer. And James has had a bad run, and James kind of messed up in the head. And like the person he is now, especially after doing the rehab a couple of times, I don't know. It's cool to see that growth. It's cool to see.
Yeah, even in Some Kind of Monster, when there's certain times when he's being selfish and childish and stuff like that, but you can tell this is a dude who actually is trying to be a little introspective. They turned it up a little bit too much. You're like, it seemed like hey guys, I feel like we overcorrected, but
my lifestyle determines my death style,
Oh man, tick 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 tick. If you're out there and you haven't seen Some Kind of Monster,
I know, but it's but James is like, oh shit, my lifestyle does determine my death style. I like that.
That's true. That's true as fuck, dog.
That scene where Phil, the therapist, hands them some lyrics he wrote, and they all fucking look at each other like, oh god.
Well,
we crossed the line.
At the end, it is refreshing. You can tell even in the making of the movie when they're like, look, we're gonna hire this guy to come in and play bass in our band. Let's learn from what we did to the other guy. Let's not be a dick to Robert Trujillo. And
how could you be a dick to him? He's just he seems like a super nice guy who's just stoked to be in the band.
Well, and also Jason Newsted's an incredible bass player, but Robert Trujillo fucking slays. Like,
I've been
he's
10
so
feet
good.
from him. I've been 10 feet from him when he does that part in Master of Puppets where it goes. It's a lot of notes, and he does it with his fingers, and they play it twice as fast live. And I was like 10 feet from him watching him do it, and I was like, he's so fucking good, dude. And Metallica's a much better band now. I don't know if of course they made better music back in the day. I want their new album's really good, but they're a better band as people, and I like I said, I like seeing that growth, and I like seeing a good success story, as long as nobody's fucking growing backwards like Brian Warner, who was touring with Five Finger Death Punch. Did you see that?
Yeah, Marilyn Manson is
his big
Marilyn
comeback.
Manson's back, baby.
His big comeback.
That's
opening
the bottom
for a band he probably doesn't like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really. It's kind of. I know he's got legal bills to pay though. So.
Yeah. He everybody who gets canceled has that moment where they test the waters, and this is Marilyn Manson testing the waters.
There is a level of people that just do not care about any of that stuff, and
oh yeah,
he's coming to our local place, and I saw the comments, and Marilyn Manson, whoa, I'll be there. Yeah. They have no idea about any of that stuff, because most people don't actually pay attention to the artists they take part in, and they just want to.
That might be the way to do it.
It might be. Might be. Because I always wanted to know. Like, I had an idea of who Rivers Cuomo was, and anytime I could find out any information about him, I wanted to know it. And Billy Corgan, all these people, and like some of them, I looked a little too hard, and I'm like, fuck. I don't want to not like that stuff, but now I know that, and I'd rather just have my really innocent, and see, that's something the internet has, and some kind of monster has maybe not been good for, the illusion of entertainment.
Speaking of artists that we can stand behind, we got this rap thing going. So we've got 4 upstanding individuals in. Oh wait. Well, 50 Cent might be the best one in terms of non-problematic things.
I like that guy.
I don't know.
Which is interesting since he's the guy that got shot 9 times.
9 times, yeah. So we've got the rap song Eliminate. Hold on.
Yeah.
Mark's Madness!
Boy, that is
so this is Mark's Madness. We've got the semifinals of our bracket. Dusty, do you have the matchups in front of you?
I do. We have Eminem with Lose Yourself taking on Heartless by Kanye West and Big Pimpin' by Jay-Z versus In the Club by 50 Cent.
Yeah. So we had 8 to begin with. These are the 4 survivors. Dusty, I am bummed that I didn't include Kid Cudi. That popped into my head yesterday. It would have been Day and Night, though, and not one of the songs that I really love, so it probably wouldn't have worked out. So let's start with where we start. Eminem, Lose Yourself versus Kanye West, Heartless. Let's have Jacob.
I agree.
Give his opinion, because Jacob was familiar with Lose Yourself and In the Club. I know he's heard Heartless, but he didn't have it in his brain. So it was as if he had never heard it before. And I don't know if Jacob, have you ever heard Big Pimpin' going into this?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, Big Pimpin', that whistle part, though. That sticks in my head. Like, that'll just show up in my brain.
That's an earworm
on a weekly basis. Yeah. I'll just be whistling while I'm walking, and that comes out.
I've been doing that. I was doing that at the gym yesterday, and I was like, these people probably know I'm listening to Big Pimpin' right now. The first battle, we've got Lose Yourself versus Heartless. Jacob, what are your thoughts?
Not even a fucking contest. I mean, Lose Yourself's a fucking
I know
anthem.
where this is going.
Yeah, And I've never understood the appeal of Kanye West's music. Honestly, I never have gotten into him. He had a song called Stronger that is probably, if I was going to pick one Kanye West song that I'd like, or Gold Digger's okay. But
I think there's some niche stuff that you would, not really niche because it's Kanye, but there's some lower on the album tracks that you would enjoy.
I appreciate 808 and Heartbreaks. Is that what it's called? 808.
Yeah, the album.
I appreciate the album just because I like any album that kind of sets perimeters for itself. So like we're only going to use the 808 machine and we're going to use auto tune as an instrument. So I'm always I think I was interested in this album because of that. Just because like I'm always just I'm up for a good experiment, and you know, sure it's a Kanye West song, and it's you know, like it's, you know, but Eminem made the seminal, like, I mean, like that's like Eye of the Tiger for rap songs, man. Like that's like the pump yourself up fucking song, like lose yourself, like just it's a really easy riff to play. So if you like just start playing that in a bar, dude, everybody comes to life. Like, yeah, you know, I wish I could like spit like Eminem so I could play the whole song live. That'd be fun. But
that would be sick.
But yeah, totally Eminem over here all the way. Sorry, Kanye.
Okay.
I know that probably hurts your ego, but
hey, if you didn't pick Eminem, it would hurt Eminem's
ego too.
He'd write a song about you.
I like Eminem as a person as well, better than I like Kanye as a person. Even though I'm one of those people that watches Kanye. I've been crazy myself. And so therefore I see a crazy guy and I'm like, I understand where he's at, kind of, you know, like I'm understanding this, you know, I when he's just spitting nonsense, I can understand what his nonsense means most of the time. But you know, Eminem, that guy stays out of drama. He just fucking makes amazing music. Did you hear his last album, the Music to Murder by 2 or whatever?
Yeah.
Damn, that's hot. That's hot.
Yeah, I just we talked about it before. It's like I feel like he's more impressive than good nowadays.
Sure. Yeah, his wordplay just makes my brain dance. So
yeah,
but
yeah, and that's fine. Like some people love, like that's what they look for in rap.
If
so
Lose
like,
Yourself,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Lose Yourself is his inner Sandman. That's the fucking.
It truly
is.
That's
the shit.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got one vote for Lose Yourself. Dusty, you want to go or you want me to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. It has to be Lose Yourself. Like, even if we're just talking about like from a lyrical standpoint, Eminem is saying so much shit in this song. Like it really is. Like it felt like if he were like, if I died tomorrow and this was the only song anyone ever heard ever again, you would know everything you ever needed to know about Eminem from this one song, you know. And the beat is cool. The piano thing at the end, like it, Heartless is a great song, but it's about something personal to Kanye. The lyrics have that in it, but like if we're talking about bearing your soul as far as like a hip hop song goes, like there's nothing like Lose Yourself. Like he really feels like a man on the brink. Like he was able to tap into that emotion very well. And then when the chorus hits, like Jacob said, you're your fist is in the air and you're like, this is my only shot. This is my one opportunity, you know, like you have to move past the, like we talked about last week, like the memeability of like Mom's spaghetti or this is my one shot and all of that shit, like to the earnest version of that, which is what makes this song so great. Like whenever Eminem can do that, that's when he's really the best rapper / commercial artist, you know, whenever he can combine those two things.
When he was talking about his life and not about how much better at rapping than he is than everybody else, that was when, like, that, because that's all Eminem talks about now. And like, it's like, when he was, and I don't need him to be poor again, but I loved when he was talking about how poor he was back in the day. Sure, if I had one wish, I would ask for a big enough ass for the whole world to kiss. And he wrote that song because he was sick of just working 9-to-5 jobs and not getting the credit that he deserved and all this shit. And like now it's just like, hey, I'm way better than you. Like, and you won't even understand this next
delivering
all that
pizzas
shit. So,
to Trent Reznor.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, in the song when he says "This is no movie," there's no Mekhi Phifer. I remember Mekhi Phifer. I remember hearing that for the first time and being like, "Oh fuck!" He tied them both together. He rhymed the co-star of his movie with his life. What a genius!
Brilliant.
Okay, so you guys being unanimous made this an easy choice for me. Unfortunately, I am going to pick Heartless. It was close for me.
Okay,
and it's not if you're talking about cultural lexicon, if you're talking about cultural impact and all that stuff, I mean, you're not going to beat Lose Yourself with very many hip hop songs, if any hip hop songs. I loved Lose Yourself. I listened to it about 1,000 times. Like I couldn't stop listening to it when it came out. Like it got me just like it got everybody else. But in the night, I hear him talk the coldest story ever told. Somewhere far along this road, he lost his soul to a woman so heartless. Like that line, it just gets me for some reason. Like I've listened to that song like throughout listening to this. This is kind of what I almost what I'm basing it on. While listening to these songs for the purpose of this, I listened to Heartless like 6 times. Like I just kept listening to that song. The subtle piano in the background with the 808s and the auto tune. So like, I'm glad mine isn't the deciding thing. I think it is. I think the right conclusion is that Lose Yourself gets 2 votes and Heartless gets 1 vote, because I think Heartless deserves some recognition, but Lose Yourself is maybe the most iconic rap song ever made. It won a fucking Oscar, so like I can't really.
You're welcome.
You know what I mean? But Dusty,
I showed up and made it unanimous.
Yeah,
not like Eminem.
Yeah,
that would have been. You guys would. What's the tiebreaker, by the way, if we have a tie, or if we have to?
We haven't really established one. The last time we tied with Big Pimpin' and Caribou Lou, I think, and I just let Dusty have it.
Okay.
So I think we would have figured something out, but it would have been a harder choice for me. I might have I probably would have given him Lose Yourself, because Lose Yourself is the more like obvious answer to this that makes the most sense. I just wanted to make sure Heartless got some, because Heartless is like, I think this is because like this album 808s and Heartbreak meant a lot to me. Like when it came out, I was just like steady, just smoking a bunch of weed in my car with my friends, listening to this album over and over again, you know?
Yeah.
So like, but Dusty, you did say you said that Heartless had a really corny line.
It did. Yeah.
With how could you be so Dr. Evil, right?
Yeah.
I will counter with a line that has always bugged me about Eminem, because he's a shoehorner sometimes. Okay. Success is my only motherfucking option. Failure's not. Well, since success is your only option, we know failure's not.
Yeah.
You just said that for the rhyme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll submit that one.
Okay.
You know,
I'll take it.
I'm just submitting it.
I'll take it to the board. We'll come back next week with the jury.
So moving on to the finals, we've got Lose Yourself by Eminem, a deserving finalist. The next one we've got 50 Cent's Into Club versus Jay-Z's Big Pimpin'.
Oh boy.
Jacob, you want to head this one off too?
This was a hard one. Those are both really good songs in their respective genre and in their intention. And Jay-Z's, I mean, not only does it have that whistle, but it also got the rah, and you know, like that's good shit. And like, just got many different amazing parts they're just, it's a good song. But I'm gonna go with 50 Cent on this one. 50 Cent in the Club is a banger. It's just it hits hard. It's always like, dude, once again, that's another song. Like, I don't listen to that song, but like when I'm about to go do something and I'm like walking hard with my camera or something like that to get to a place, boom, boom, bum, bum, bum. It's like that shit's just going in my head, and it really stick. Like that's something that just stuck with me. Like, and like I said, not something I listen to very often, but man, it's been around me enough that I'm like, oh, that's good. So I feel like Jay-Z, you're good. You're a good rapper, sir. But 50 Cent's got it going on, and I really love his attitude lately. He's been dissing on Sean. I'm Puffy lately, and it's been really funny. So yeah,
he's so funny on Instagram. He really is. 50 Cent is a hilarious guy. Dusty, I'll go second this time, and let you be the finale. It's in the club. It's got to be in the club. Like I decided that I don't really like Big Pimpin' that much. The beat is really good. I think Jay-Z's fine. I don't like the feature on it very much. I don't even know who it is.
UGK.
It's UGK.
Yeah.
I didn't like that very much. It's a good song, but it's not like, if it was 99 Problems, that song, like 99 Problems by Jay-Z would win this bracket for me, I think. The thing is, sitting outside of it and thinking about it, but Into Club was like huge. Like, it was everywhere. It was on everything. It was the iconic music video of 50 Cent hanging upside down. He did it at the Super Bowl.
That was cool when he pulled it out at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and then everybody made fun of him for being a little chubby.
Well, you know.
It was funny. His reaction was great. But he's like, that beat, the Go Shorty, It's Your Birthday. Like, and this is one of those songs that's like Good Riddance, where people play Good Riddance at graduations and shit. And people play Into Club at birthdays, even though 50 Cent literally says it's not your birthday in the song. Like, it's Into Club. It's a slam dunk for me. What do you think, Dusty?
Yeah, it's unanimous. This was
Okay.
This was the toughest one of the semifinals, because like, if you're talking beat to beat, it's pretty tough, because that Big Pimpin' beat by Timbaland is incredible.
The beat is so good.
The beat is so good, but the beat for Into Club was designed designed in a lab, and not like when rappers say they're in the lab, like a real lab for like
where they design the Jack in the Box tacos.
Right, like it's to like hit the endorphin parts of your brain. Like, I don't know, that little keyboard part in the club between the bass hits that's one of the greatest beats ever made. And opposite to you, Andrew, my favorite part of Big Pimpin' is the feature, the first part. I like the first guy.
Really?
I don't like the second guy as much. But Jay-Z's verses are fine, but I think UGK outraps him in the second verse. But like, there's like two different levels in the club where 50 Cent is rapping and he's kind of doing the laid back 50 Cent style, and then he hits that focus, man, my money on my mind, and he like switches the way that he's rapping, and that's the part that like always gets me. So it has to be in the club. I mean, every single person in the world, your grandma has heard the beat for In the Club, you know?
Yeah.
And so if this were 1998,
that's certainly true. And if she heard it, she would literally start saying, "Go Shorty, it's your birthday."
It's impossible to deny, even though that Timbaland beat is incredible. You just,
oh my god,
yeah. And
does this make next?
Timbaland is?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
No, you're good, Jacob.
I was just gonna say
Okay.
that makes next week In the Club versus Lose Yourself.
Well, that's going to be right now.
Oh yeah.
What? We're doing that now?
Yeah.
That's going to be right now.
No.
Yeah, we're knocking out the finals right now.
Ooh.
So, Lose Yourself versus Into Club.
What were you going to say about Timbaland?
Eminem versus
Did you have
50
anything
Cent.
important to say?
Oh,
about
Timbaland's amazing. Like, Timbaland did like almost all of Justin Timberlake's like big songs. He did Cry Me a River. He did all of the 2020 Experience. He did like crazy, and he did the Holy Grail and the that album with Jay-Z. Like, if you look up
Missy Elliott songs, like
Yeah,
most
and
of the
he
Missy
did-
Elliott
he did
songs
Ooh,
where the beats
those
are
beats are good, man.
yeah.
Yeah, and he did the Nelly Furtado song, that Promiscuous. He did like, if you look up everything that Timbaland had his hands in, it's crazy.
Word.
It's he's like one of the most prolific. Him and Dre like ran the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, this was Timbaland versus Dre.
Yeah.
Because Dre did the In the Club beat. So like,
Wow. I did not know that for some reason.
yeah.
I'm glad
crazy.
I
So-
mentioned it, because like, really, Dre did that In the Club beat, huh? That makes sense.
Yeah, and
Well, the story
And-
goes that they brought 50 Cent to the studio, and Dr. Dre was like, one of these five, you can have one of these five. They're all hits. Whichever one, pick whichever beat you want. But and so he
Wow.
just played him like five of these beats that he's like, it's like he knows, and is, you know, he's got such an ear for melody and for like composition that he's like, this song will be a success. So if you pick this beat, you have a single on your hands, you know.
Dre.
So that's yeah.
Yeah, and if you listen to the composition of the actual dun 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 dun,
once you said it, it
like,
sounds like Dre. Now that I'm
100%. And so in the finals, we've got Dr. Dre versus not Dr. Dre Eminem song. So and Lose Yourself was released in 2002, and the producers are Jeff Bass and Louis Resto, guys I'm not familiar with. But he's apparently Jeff Bass, or Bass. I don't know. He's a music producer. He might call himself Bass. He was a longtime collaborator with Eminem, so I'd be interested to see what else this guy had his hands on that Eminem. So he did some stuff on the Marshall Mathers LP, the Eminem Show, the Slim Shady LP.
I was going to say,
I think some stuff on Without Me.
I think he and his brother supplied a lot of the beats for the first Eminem album, whichever one that is, the Slim Shady LP. I think.
Well, yeah, he worked on the Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP, Eminem Show. Oh man, it looks like Eminem fell off as soon as he stopped using this guy. But
interesting.
Yeah, so
we found out the other day.
Eminem was like, "Oh man, I won an Oscar for a guitar song. I better put guitar on every song."
You just reminded me. I was talking to Robbie. You remember our old friend Robbie?
Yeah,
I
beat him up when I was 3.
Yeah, he was our neighbor. I was talking to him the other day, and we were talking about 9 Inch Nails, and we were like, "Man, those first 4 albums were just amazing, and then they just kind of got boring." And we're like, "Man, what happened?" And we started looking into it. And Trent Reznor got sober.
Oh shit!
You know, like,
I mean, that's what happened with Eminem too. I mean, Encore kind of stunk. He wasn't sober during Encore, but
no, he was doing too many drugs during Encore.
Yeah, that's what got him sober. So, who wants to go first on Into Club versus Lose Yourself?
I might go first because I have a bold stance. I know it's only 2 songs, so I guess you can't have that bold a stance. I think it's Into Club. I think Into Club is a better song than Lose Yourself.
Okay.
I don't know that Lose Yourself wins if we're talking about like iconic rap songs. Like, I don't know if whatever measure you want to take it, other than I guess Oscar winner. Like, I think Into Club is as ubiquitous, as well known as Lose Yourself is. And I just think, like, we talk so much about the beat and about that change for the dun 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 dun. But I listened to it a lot this week. The thing that's going the whole time, like the 16th note that's playing in between those things, that gets me. The whole that thing running through the whole song is so earworm catchy to my brain that my vote is going to be 50 Cent Into Club.
That does surprise me because I thought you were going to take Eminem to the house.
Me too. And then I started really thinking about it, and I was like, really, which song, based solely on its merits, do I think is the better song? And I think Into Club is the better song.
Okay. Jacob, do you want to go next, or you want me to go next? Jacob's muted. That means I'll go next. Himself. Jacob's also frozen. Yeah. So this is a hard one for me, because I was 12 and 13 when these 2 songs came out. I remember being on the bus, asking somebody. I didn't know the lyrics. I was trying to explain Lose Yourself to them to ask if they had it on their iPod.
I want to hear that conversation.
I was like, "Do you have that song that goes move with the music, the moment, whatever?" Like, I didn't know he was saying "lose." He's like, "Do you mean lose yourself, you moron?" Yeah. They made me look like a real sack of shit on the bus on the way to a JV basketball game. No. But, and I didn't really relate. Obviously, I didn't relate to Into Club as a 13-year-old when it came out, but like, it wasn't my style. Like, I was still that was like Blink 182 and Sum 41 and all that stuff for me at the time. And then, but as I've grown older, like, I feel like these 2 things started here and then they crossed each other, right? and like I still love "Lose Yourself," and I it's a great song, but I feel like it's in the club, dude. I feel like you'll find me in the club, bro. But I got that X if you need to feel a buzz.
Yeah.
So, Jacob, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, he's back. Yes. So that was perfect timing. It has been decided already. We are 2-0, but your vote still counts. You know what I mean? It's like voting for Trump in California. It still counts.
I guess I am gonna vote for "Lose Yourself" here because while "In the Club" is a good song, great beat.
You're going to hear a cut, maybe a weird cut. We had some technical difficulties. This app that we use is good for certain things, and sometimes it's a real pain in the balls. Isn't that right, Jacob?
Yeah, I guess so. Ball.
So Jacob, you were in the middle of saying
I was giving my "Lose Yourself" vote.
Yeah,
I was saying that while 50 Cent has concocted a great stew there, it doesn't make me emotional, and "Lose Yourself" makes me emotional. Like
that's certainly true.
It's fucking at certain time, especially when it came out, man. Like I was actually trying to make it in music when that came out, you know. So like, that was my anthem. But anyway, yeah. So I guess I'll give "Lose Yourself" the losing vote, and you know, though "In the Club" deserves all the win.
Listen, that's a really good point. You know, crunk is an emotion, but it's not the emotion that we always look for. It's not a crunk song, but anyway. So we've got the victor of the. I'm not going to play the stinger again till the end because I don't want to burn out the stinger. But
you could never burn out that stinger.
Of the Marks Madness hip hop bracket is. In the Club by 50 Cent. Some people are going to be really mad at us by some of the decisions that we made earlier on in the bracket, but I think people will be happy. I think we would get less shit for putting at least a black guy on the top of the hip hop rankings. So
far, it's
we've got
Basket Case and "In the Club" are the two definitive winners.
We're in a very specific period of time with those two.
Yeah.
You know, no, Basket Case is in the 90s. Never mind, because I was thinking Dookie came out in 94. So there's 9 years between those two songs. Never mind. That's just the time that I liked, that I discovered both of those songs. So now, the reason, other than the fact that we love him, the reason that Jacob is on this show, the alternative rock song eliminator bracket. We've got Dusty picked 4 bands. I picked 4 bands. I picked 4 bands that I know my brother loved and gave him an option to kick people out. But I there are bands that also those are the 4 bands that I probably would have picked too. So I'll go with my 4 are I picked System of a Down, the Smashing Pumpkins, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Weezer. And Dusty,
I picked Nirvana, Alanis Morissette, Alice in Chains, and Cake, because I
was surprised by Cake.
I love Cake so goddamn much. They're like the Tech 9 of this bracket, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because I could have just went the 4 big grunge bands, but I wanted a little bit of diversity in the situation. You know, like I almost went with Fiona Apple, but Fiona Apple is less well known than Cake. It feels like, even though "Criminal's" a huge song, that's got to be her number 1 song. But yeah, just for spice, throw some Cake in there.
I like it.
You know, and luckily we got a good Cake song that everybody knows. I mean, I love the whole catalog of the band, unironically, but we've got the most well-known Cake song as the number 1 song, which didn't happen for everybody on this list.
Right. Weird.
Yeah, that is true.
So the way it broke down, I put everybody in a randomizer. So our brackets are System of a Down, Chop Suey versus Weezer, Island in the Sun. Discuss amongst yourself, boys.
That's a tough draw for Weez, That's a tough draw
for the old Weez. I didn't expect Chop Suey to be the number 1 song. I thought BYOB, or Toxicity might be the top song.
I didn't expect Island in the Sun to be the top song. I mean, like, that's weird. That wasn't like a big hit when it came out. I mean, you know,
I think there's a reason. There's a reason in my notes that we could get to that I think is the reason why Island in the Sun is the number one for them. Then it's Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, taking on Alice in Chains, Man in the Box. The Smashing Pumpkins are then taking on the Smashing Pumpkins 1979 is up against The Distance by Cake. And then the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Under the Bridge, takes on Alanis Morissette, Ironic. And isn't it ironic?
God, I'm going to pick The Distance just to piss my brother off. Oh, it's going to be good.
So,
and I'm just going to argue it completely straight face.
So round one, System of a Down. Chop Suey is a song by American heavy metal band System of a Down. Released in 2001 off their second.
Are they American?
Yep.
Do they count as American?
Well, they're from everybody's from Armenia, but they met in L.A. So I think they're all they all went to an Armenian.
Let's call them Armenian
school.
American.
Yeah.
I think they'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think appreciate Armenian American.
Off their second album, Toxicity. Heard of it?
They're on American Records.
Oh, so
okay.
true,
There
yeah.
it is. There it is.
It was the song peaked at number 76 on the Billboard, which makes it the lowest peaking song on the Hot 100 for them, but that's somehow still the most popular song by them.
I have an idea as to why that is.
Okay.
Because they say angels deserve to die in that song.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people hear that and they just, that's all they hear.
Yeah.
They don't think of the context around the song. Because that's how, when I was a kid, when I heard Angels Deserve to Die, I was like, oh, this is a demon band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
they're taking on Weezer's Island in the Sun, which is off of their second self-titled record, the third record overall, known as The Green Album, lovingly by fans of Weezer. The second single wasn't even supposed to be on the album. And then the producer fought for its inclusion. And it's their most successful radio single and the biggest hit for them outside of the U.S. So the reason I think that it's the number one song is because it's the most licensed song of like the 2000s or something like that.
Oh, yeah, it was. It was even in like a Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen movie or something.
Yeah, it's in like every movie, every commercial. It's everywhere. Somebody, Emily Tarantula of Magnet magazine said that it's the most overrated Weezer song. She described it as so laid back it's practically catatonic, which I put in there because that's kind of funny to me. So look, I'll jump off since I did the introduction. It's Chop Suey. It's a Chop Suey times 1,000. There's just no way. I don't even know.
They couldn't be more
Yeah,
Chop Suey.
I don't know that you even need to discuss the songs based on their merits. That acoustic guitar intro for Chop Suey is incredible, and when the drums come in and it all builds to the big sort of crescendo of the guitars coming in, it's awesome. I love the way Darren Malikian plays guitar. Like his riffs and stuff are so great. And this is not my favorite Weezer song. This isn't even the best. Like Knockdown, Drag Out, War off the Green Album, I think it's a way better song than
Simple Pages.
Oh, that is a great.
Yeah, Photograph. Like Green Album has. Green Album has some hits on it. It's just not Island in the Sun.
Even Don't Let Go. Goddamn.
Don't Let Go.
Yeah, Island in the Sun just ain't it. You know, even though that's the first song I ever learned to play on drums because it's the simplest drum song you could really play. I think it's a fine song. If I were at the beach or I was driving somewhere, it could come on and it's not objectionable. But if you're telling me that it's against Chop Suey, I don't know what you want me to do in that situation. So my vote is for System of a Down.
I mean,
Jacob?
Sound like Andrew's votes for System of a Down as well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna have to go with you guys. Though I want to mention there's a Weezer EP called The Lion and the Witch EP that has a live version of Island in the Sun. And the solo, like on the Green album, part of the reason I didn't like the Green album as much is because every solo just mocks the vocal melody. So like that the solo comes in, it's like, and like when he played it live on this version here, I don't know if I can play I could play it out loud here, but I don't know if it would pick up very well. Can you hear this very well?
Let's see if it works.
Let's see if I can do something here. And why isn't my shit working? Here we go. Okay. Can you hear this?
We can hear it. It's kind of taking it as background noise.
Okay.
I've heard that a lot.
I played it a lot.
I think that's how they play it live now too.
And it's so just that is so tasty, but chop suey.
That part where it goes to halftime. Oh my god!
We used to cover that in a band I was in, and the singer none of us singers actually could hit that. When angels deserve to die, like full voice, like Surge. So I always really was impressed by that moment as a vocalist. That's what a performance on Chop Suey. Like he's so good.
That piano outro at the end, like where they put the piano in at the end of the song, like it's just composed so well.
So good, man. So good. Rick Rubin, man.
So pretty easy first round. Tough break for Weezer. Tough draw.
Yeah, sorry, Weezer. If you would have pulled out some other the world has turned and left me here versus or something like that.
Right. That was, if I were to pick, that would have been the one that I was going to pick. Or Suzanne. I love Suzanne.
Right. I was just Suzanne. Yeah.
But,
give me some of them.
So up next, maybe the draw of the first round, in my opinion, is Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit versus Alice in Chains, Man in the Box. So,
what's in the box?
So, Smells Like Teen Spirit is a song off of the album Nevermind. Heard of it? Released in 1991 on David Geffen Records. Look, there are so many superlatives for Smells Like Teen Spirit that it's almost ridiculous. It's in the Grammy Hall of Fame for song. It's the 5th on the 500 greatest songs of all time. It's number 1 on the greatest singles of all time by Kerrang! Magazine. Like it is the song, and it's so hard to divorce the song versus what the song became, because but on its own merits, if you tried to listen to it with fresh ears, it's still just a great single. Like it's a great radio hook. That the fact that they do the guitar riff not clean, but by itself opening, and then the drums come in with that for the intro, like it's just a very, very well put together song. Like it is the song, Yeah. And it, unfortunately, is taken on Man in the Box from American rock band Alice in Chains, which is the debut single from their studio album Facelift. It peaked at number 18 on the Billboard Mainstream Rock chart, so good for them. It is the second most played song on the radio for the decade 2010 to 2019. Number one.
That's interesting.
Number one.
What?
Smells Like Teen Spirit. So,
that's because so many rock stations, they didn't have material. Yeah. They didn't have even New Rock 104.1 just turned into the Pearl Jam channel in the mid to late 2000s in Fresno. So,
VH1 named it the 50th greatest song of the 90s. I love Alice in Chains. I might be the person who loves Alice in Chains the most out of the three of us. I don't know how much Jacob likes Alice in Chains. So, but I love Alice in Chains. I can't in good conscience not pick Smells Like Teen Spirit. I don't know. It's like
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, because the beginning of Man in the Box has that drum thing, and that riff is that riff's so cool.
It's tasty.
The guitar solo in Man in the Box is incredible. The double vocals, like Alice in Chains are a great band. It's just they're up against maybe the greatest song of the 90s, you know, like mainstream song. I don't know what to do.
Smells Like Teen Spirit is Nirvana's Lose Yourself. And
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing when you earlier.
So I mean, like, yeah, like that's just a. I remember Butch Vig telling a story of like he got a cassette tape of them playing that, in off of boombox, and like he could hear that it was a hit like off of that. He was just like, oh my god, and then he like went straight to them and got in a garage with them and was just like, play it again, play it again, play it again, play it again. Okay, cut that part, play it again, play it again. And yeah, he got obsessed with that. And because he knew, man, like Smells Like Teen Spirit's magical. It's just a magical
Wouldn't
song.
it be crazy? Well, you guys both actually probably experienced this to a point. Like, I never heard Smells Like Teen Spirit where it wasn't a cultural lexicon song.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
imagine... Go ahead.
You're right. It was just the new thing that came along, and we were just like, "Oh, this is good," you know. Like it wasn't like, "Oh, this is going to change the world," you know. Like it was just like, "Holy shit, that band's great!" Yeah. And you know, I'm sad actually because I wasn't a Nirvana fan until after he died. I picked the Pumpkins, and just you know, even actually that's wrong because I didn't even like the Pumpkins until '95. So I was listening to bands like Tony and TLC and shit like that. And Michael Jackson. I was listening to Dangerous in 1991, dude. So like, yeah, I wasn't into. I thought Metallica was scary, and I thought Nirvana looked like dudes that would hang out at the local pool hall that I didn't want to hang out with. And so, like, I was.
And you thought Michael Jackson? That's a guy I want to hang out
with. That guy. That's my dude. Yeah.
Odd judgment on Jake.
That guy has a ranch, I heard, and he lets there's a Ferris wheel and a petting zoo.
Even
I like monkeys and cotton candy.
Even when I did, I don't even remember when I heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit," but when I did, I definitely recognized it as a great song, and you know, it brought on a whole new form of music for sure. Like that's actually when the radio kind of changed too. Radio started going from like pop music to more stuff like that. Alice in Chains. I remember when Alice in Chains Unplugged came out. Even like that had a few different, you know, like Alice in Chains Unplugged is amazing. Have you ever watched that?
Yeah.
Poor Lane. I love how fucking they had to prop Lane up with a stick, man. Yeah. Like he is so fucking whacked out. He's wearing sunglasses the whole time, but a couple of songs he takes his sunglasses off and he looks like a fucking corpse, dude. And there is one song, Sledge Factory, when they start it, like they get into the first verse and he fucks it up and he just goes, fuck, and everything stops and the band looks at him like, you got this, dude? And he's like, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Man.
The story is that they had to go score him some heroin, right, in New York. Like he was in such bad shape when they found him.
Right.
Because they were like, he was like reclusive even then. They had booked the gig and they were like, we don't know if Lane's going to show up to this thing or not. And then they found him in New York. They got him there and then they found him and some PA who worked for MTV, Imagine. They're like, your job is you have to go score junk for Lane Staley so he can fucking perform on this Unplugged. So they shoot him up so that he's not sick anymore because he's going through withdrawal or whatever. And then he walks on stage and nails it.
And gives an amazing performance. Yeah. I mean, like he fucking, that's the haunting performance.
Yeah. Down in a hole off the Unplugged is fucking
nutshell.
Really. Yeah.
His voice was incredible. I never appreciated Alice in Chains. I think I was young. They sounded like the Breaking Benjamin of grunge to me when I was younger. Like that kind of bro grunge almost to me, even though like now when I listen to them, it's the same with Pearl Jam. Like I'm starting to get it a little bit more. It's the same thing with I didn't even like Soundgarden and Audioslave. Like I didn't like because I love Green Day and Linkin Park. You know what I mean? So, but his voice on the hook of that of Man in a Box, that note that he hits, he's amazing.
And
yeah,
I saw the new version of Alice in Chains, which the new version of Alice in Chains has 3 albums and they're all very good. and I saw them live, and they blew me away, dude. That he definitely deserves to be in that spot. William Duvall, he hits that note very well, you know.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
But yeah, it's they also are a band that has a really interesting story. Like, and I never looked at them as bro grunge for sure. They were always the fucking most depressed band I'd ever seen in my life. Just like you just even look at those guys and you just be like, God, they are just down in a hole, like in real life. Like, that's real shit.
Dirt is,
yeah, that was just my misinterpretation of their music, you know?
Dirt is like unrelentingly sad. Like
Dirt,
that album is just
Dirt is
every
about
song
being on heroin, written by guys that are on heroin.
Yeah. But it's interesting that you say that, Andrew, because there is sort of a split, because it's like Nirvana were sort of a punk band who had pop melodies because Kurt Cobain loved the Beatles, but like Soundgarden and Alice in Chains were sort of metal bands. Like, or Soundgarden was a very more metal band in the late 80s, you know, and then since they were all from the same place, when Nirvana hit, they were just like, oh, all of you are this one thing. And they're all different enough. Like Alice in Chains doesn't sound exactly like Soundgarden, and Soundgarden doesn't sound like Nirvana, and Nirvana doesn't sound like Pearl Jam. Like, even though they're all from the same area, it's just guitar rock. But the way it was marketed was just like, you're from the Pacific Northwest, it rains all the time, all of you are the same guy. And that's the problem. But
yeah, and this is just it's another situation where a good song ran into a buzzsaw. I think Man in the Box is a better song than Island in the Sun, but they just ran into good luck.
Yeah. But tough break for my guys in Alice in Chains.
There's always FUBU.
Yeah, tough break. I'm anticipating for me next as the Smashing Pumpkins 1979 takes on The Distance by Cake. 1979 was released in 1996. It's the second single off of the third Pumpkins album called Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. Heard of it? This song actually, the Wikipedia says it's one of the first. It features like loops and samples in the songs that then later sort of showed where the Smashing Pumpkins were heading. Like the next album was a little more electronica, and then even Billy Corgan in this thing that I saw said that that's the only song on the album that sort of denoted where he thought they were going as a band, towards more 1979 sounding things.
It was the last song they recorded for the record, and they did it the last day in the studio. It took one day to do that, and none of the other band plays on it. It's all just Billy.
Yeah, the way he wants it.
Yeah,
the way he likes it. So it was nominated for Record of the Year, Best Rock Performance. It was voted the second best Smashing Pumpkins song by Rolling Stone. Doesn't say what the first one is, but it's their highest charting single.
Probably Bullet with Butterfly Wings, right?
Probably.
And
if it's Rolling Stone, that's probably
it was like it takes on The Distance by Cake. Unsurprisingly, sadly, not a lot for The Distance on old Wikipedia. It's off of their second album, Fashion Nugget. Heard of it? Please hear of it, because it's pretty good.
Fashion Nugget.
It is obviously their most popular song. It was written by their guitarist at the time, Greg Brown. And yeah, it charted pretty well. It's pretty recognizable. It's not 1979 recognizable. So
no.
Even though I find myself listening to The Distance more than I find myself listening to 1979, I don't think that I can in good conscience make the case for The Distance to be the winner of this song, of this contest. Even though I fucking love Cake. Go listen to Cake. They're so good.
Yeah, man, it sucks.
I should have waited to put Cake in the 90s one-hit wonder category. The Distance cleans up in one-hit wonder.
You fucked up. Well, that Cake versus No Rain would be a nice little battle there, but The Distance is so good, and The Distance beats Island in the Sun for me.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's great.
And the riffs are good, and the background vocals are good, and the fact that the guy's just talking the whole song is great. But
shaking
it's
earthquakes of
1979,
doubt
dog.
and remorse. You know,
Listen,
that's,
yeah, looking for someone for whom he still burns. Just listen to the beginning of 1979, like up until like the first like 3 seconds when the guitar comes in, and how that part makes you feel.
Yeah.
Like anybody who hears that song, like they nailed the feeling that they were trying to invoke just at that part of the song. Good luck beating that cake, unfortunately. Like 1979 is the winner of this one. Jacob, go ahead and spit some
throw some more dirt on my poor cake coffin.
Hey, listen, I am not going to deny the power of Cake. I think they're a really good band. I love that dude's voice. I love the horns. I love that guitar riff in the distance. That I love that shit. Really great song, but yeah, you once again, as Andrew said, you put it up against a buzzsaw. I was like, I can't, like I always have to give tribute. Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness changed my life because like before that, I had no interest in playing music, and I saw the Butterfly Wings video like right when it came out, before the album came out, and I saw 4 people that just looked like normal people playing really awesome music. Because before that, I kind of was just like, oh, I'm not one of those people. But then I saw like dorky, like Billy Corgan looks like a dork, and I'm like, this dork rocks. And there was a guitar in my house that was my grandpa's, and I pulled it out from under the bed it was under and started playing immediately. And when the album came out, there was at least a month or two where Bullet was the only single, and I loved 1979 before it was a single, and when it became the next single and it had that amazing video, and I was 16 years old, just like those kids in that video, and just living that life of just, we don't even care, man. And that song's just still huge for me. Every time I see them live, that's a really touching moment when they play that, and they always play it, so that's good.
Yeah, it's
well, Dusty and I are going to see them live later this year.
Very excited.
Yeah, you'll see me on stage with them. I applied to be their guitar player, so I'll be there.
Yeah,
I sent in an endorsement, so hopefully it works.
Man, it's gonna work out.
I should have said this is local. This is media personality Andrew Delvin, rather than just this fucking guy's brother.
Yeah, the 1979 is not my favorite Pumpkin song. I put 0 Bullet with Butterfly Wings. Even Tonight, like those are songs that I think that I like more.
I love Tonight.
But 1979, there is just a warmness to the feeling of it when it comes on. Like there's nothing. I mean, you could speak to it more, Jacob, I guess, or obviously you can. Like, there's nothing tremendously intrinsic or intricate about it. Really, he's just playing acoustic guitar over like some loops, right? But it's
acoustic and electric. There's a lot of shiny guitars on it. There's a lot of reverb and just.
It's just warm. Like it just has this very warm feeling.
No distortion. Man. Like I said, he had a demo of it, and he just really, like, at the last minute was like, I really want to make this song. And the producer was like, we only have 1 day. It's like, if that's what you want to do with the last day. And he was like, and that's what they did with the last day, and it became like their biggest hit. So that's one of their biggest hits. So that's cool.
And then last of round 1, we've got the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Under the Bridge. Which was the 11th song off of their 5th studio album, Blood Sugar Sex Magic with a K. Heard of it? The song,
one of the greatest albums ever made.
Of course, commercial success. It's their highest charting single still, number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, and certified platinum. The music video was I didn't know it was directed by Gus Van Sant, who went on to direct Good Will Hunting.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. Kerrang! Magazine placed it at number 6 on the 100 greatest singles of all time. It's got a whole bunch of superlatives. It's 328th on the 500 greatest songs of all time. It is taking on Ironic from Canadian songwriter Alanis Morissette, released in 1996 as the 3rd single off of her 3rd studio album, Jagged Little Pill. Heard of it? it was a disappointment for me because when I picked Alanis in my head, I thought for sure You Ought to Know was the number one song. And I was like, You Ought to Know fucking cuts through most of the competition in this in this thing. I think You Ought to Know is one of the best songs of all time. But
You Ought to Know definitely makes it a harder track. Like it throws a wrench into a lot of these.
This is her highest charting single. And it's got the music video that's very, very famous with her in the car, and it's all her different personalities.
This was huge. This was huge.
It's giant. I have to give it to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I only have to give it to the Red Hot Chili Peppers for the guitar intro to Under the Bridge, which every single person that I've ever met who wants to play guitar tries to play that intro. No one I know plays it right, but I would never tire of hearing. But
I was gonna say, Jacob. So, Jacob plays it right.
But I never tire of hearing it. I never tire of hearing Frusciante play it. I never tire of hearing somebody's bad version of it. It's so fucking good. And then the song is just, it's like, for guys like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, it's like a exercise in restraint almost, because they are so wacky and over the top and do so much that this song really, really waits until the end to really go crazy. And then I watched a video the other day where Flea was talking about, they brought in, I think, like people from Anthony Kiedis's mom's singing group or something.
It was John's mom.
Or John's mom, yeah, to do the Under the Bridge Downtown, that part. Yeah. And that, like, I never really thought of that as a super important part of the song, but it really does sort of undergird like the last part of the song. So
there's a video in Funky Monks of him coaching them in the Houdini mansion to sing that part.
I've been in that house.
That's it.
Yeah, and Jacob has been in that house.
It's like dropping a name, but I just dropped a house.
Yeah. And Ironic is good. Like, the chorus for Ironic is very good. It's very catchy. It's very singable. But
it's a great song.
Yeah, it's a great song, and I like Alanis. It's just, it doesn't beat Under the Bridge, which is even one of my favorite Chili Pepper songs. That every matchup in this thing is like, no, this other song's pretty good too, but it's up against the best song.
The later rounds of this are gonna get tough, boys. And are we finishing this bracket out to this week? Are we gonna get down to the finals or the semis?
I would be okay to finish it if Jacob and everybody else is up for it, because then.
Well, I mean, we've already discussed the merits of most of these songs, so if we came down,
they'll be quicker.
Yeah, be a little quicker. Yeah, but I think
go
ahead.
Sorry, did Taylor Hawkins play on Ironic? Did he play on the album?
No, actually, here's the funny part: the Red Hot Chili Peppers played on. Oh wait, no, my bad. They
played on You Ought to Know.
You Ought to Know. My bad. Okay. Oh, look at me. No, on Ironic, it was actually the guy that produced it, Tim Ballard, I think his name was.
Okay.
I think that's not his name. Tim Ballard's the fucking, like, Sound of Freedom guy. Who the fuck is it? Hold on a second.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Robert Ballard, the guy who found the Titanic?
No,
let me see who produced this. The guy that... Alanis and this guy wrote the album together, and... except for the song the Chili Peppers were on. Let's see.
Glenn Ballard,
that's it. Thank you. And he played most of the music on it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so on You Ought to Know, it's Dave Navarro and Flea.
Yeah. Chad wasn't there.
Cool.
But so, I don't know if it was Taylor, but I don't think he was hired yet. He got hired when they put together the live
video. Band. He's in the video for You Ought to Know, but I don't think he played on the tracks because I think he was in the touring band.
Yeah.
Only.
Yeah, drummer Taylor Hawkins played in a touring band before joining Foo Fighters, but does not contribute to the track.
Right on. Man, I remember I was in Aspen, Colorado with my parents, and I was just walking the streets. I don't remember if I was with them or by myself, but on this one strip of businesses, they had like a TV, like kind of up in the corner in front of this business, and it was playing MTV, and the You Ought to Know video came on there, and it was like brand new. And like, I stood there on the street in Aspen, Colorado and watched that whole video. And I was like, that was one of the moments where I'm like, this is going to change the fucking world. Like, this is amazing. Like, I've never seen a girl, like put herself out there like that. And, Yeah, very, very cool. And it did change the world. Dude, Ironic was huge, huge. Yeah. But I guess since I'm talking about it, I just can't put Ironic over pretty much any Chili Peppers. But Under the Bridge is a special song. Blood Sugar is a special album. I saw them live recently, and they've started alternating not playing Under the Bridge and they play I Could Have Lied instead. And they played I Could Have Lied at my show, and I was very happy because, you know, I've heard Under the Bridge a million times. I've never heard I Could Have Lied live. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, I think I would have taken that. I think I've seen the Chili Peppers live once, but they didn't play Under the Bridge that day.
They didn't. I've never seen them play that, I guess.
Yeah, I would take I Could Have Lied. I Could Have Lied as a lesser known acoustic song that. Who did he write that about? Sinead?
Yeah, Sinead O'Connor. Yeah,
I think he wrote that about Sinead O'Connor. But yeah, it's got to be it's got to be Under the Bridge.
Yeah, I'm super basic. My favorite Chili Pepper song is "Soul to Squeeze." Like I put Soul to Squeeze.
That's a beautiful song.
Yeah,
man. I think John recently said he really regrets not putting that on Blood Sugar. Because at the time they were like, nobody's gonna want 3 slow songs on this album, and that album would have been even bigger with Soul to Squeeze on it, man.
It would have sounded, good. It would have fit in.
Well, they recorded
funny enough because it's like a funk.
They
album.
recorded
it's like a punk.
The
funk
same,
album.
you know, that was in the same session.
Okay.
They just decided to take it off because they had Under the Bridge and I Could Have Lied, and they didn't think their fans would like 3 songs that are slow, And yeah, man. So it ended up on the fucking Coneheads soundtrack. That's where it ended up. So
I remember trying to track it down and being like, "Where the fuck is this song?" Because then it's on one of the greatest hits later on.
Yeah, it's on the greatest hits finally. Yeah. But that didn't come out till like 2002.
Yeah.
So yeah, until that, you could only get it on the Dan Aykroyd Coneheads soundtrack.
So what a place to put it, you know. Yeah, I think we've got a good semifinals. We're gonna have it's a real Sophie's choice here. So we've got System of a Down, Chop Suey versus Under the Bridge.
Fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Oh man. Under the Bridge for me, guys. I love SOAD, but you know, I've got John Frusciante on my arm. One of my dumb tattoos that I don't like is John Frusciante. So that's my favorite one. I have Jimi Hendrix too. I like Jimi Hendrix, but
Andrew's having a moment.
I don't know what I'm picking. Red Hot Chili Peppers is one of my favorite bands of all time. That guitar riff, it's very Little Wing-esque. It's classic John, and John's amazing and a genius and one of my favorite musicians to ever live. Chop Suey's so freaking good.
Yeah, it's a brilliant piece of art, man. It really is.
And produced by the same guy. So now you're having
both produced by the same guy. Yeah, brilliance all around.
I forgot that Rick Rubin did Chop Suey.
Rick Rubin produced every System album.
Fuck, man. Dusty, do you have an answer?
Yeah,
I'll go in the event of a tie.
I feel like my heart wants it to be System of a Down, but my head is I still think it's Under the Bridge. I don't know. Like, there's so much iconic stuff in Under the Bridge. Like, if you take it as a total piece, like it's I think it's got to be. I think I'm going with Under the Bridge. I don't want to think too hard about it.
Okay, thank you for making this definitive. I'll do what I did with Heartless. I will vote Chop Suey just to give it some recognition.
Yeah.
But The Right Thing probably won. Under the Bridge is not my favorite Red Hot Chili Pepper song, but it's still like not my favorite Red Hot Chili Pepper song can still be in my top like 50 songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, it's so good. It deserves to win. So yeah.
All right. Now we've got the true battle of the 90s. Jacob can attest. Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit versus the Smashing Pumpkins, 1979.
Oh God.
You gotta pick your children, Jacob.
Fuck. This is the hardest one so far, I think.
My
like
God.
in terms of the battles that we've had, the semifinals.
This
are
is
tough.
easy for me. It's Teen Spirit all the way. Like,
okay,
at least for me. Like, there are so many. There are many emotions in 1979, but if you just want to talk about that drum intro from Smells Like Teen Spirit, like that might be the most iconic 10 seconds of the 90s. So I'm going Nirvana. You two boys can battle it out. I think we go Jacob next.
Jacob, you want to go first or second?
I'm taking Pumpkins, man. I'm taking Pumpkins. And it's because like I like Smells Like Teen Spirit, but it didn't change my life. So, you know.
Yeah.
I just got to go with my feelings on this one.
I gotta go Nirvana. I'm sorry, Jacob.
Okay. It's okay.
I love 1979 to death. Melancholy was like I wore that album out after you introduced me to it when I was younger. It Smells Like Teen Spirit is it's like the biggest song, like the most important song ever. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard to beat Smells Like Teen Spirit.
I'm sure Billy Corgan would even agree.
And I listen to those songs about the same amount. Like I go back and revisit both of them, which is surprising. That's telling for Smells Like Teen Spirit because Smells Like Teen Spirit is everywhere. It's one of those songs that you don't listen to anymore but you just it's amazing, but you just don't turn it on. 1979 is just as amazing and revered, and it's not. I'm not saying it's just as revered, but it is revered. But I'll go back and listen to it because it's like it's not overplayed. You know what I mean? But I still go back and listen to Smells Like Teen Spirit. So I gotta go.
All right. All right. And last but not least, the Smells Like Teen Spirit #1 seed overall takes on the #4 seed in the finals, Under the Bridge by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh God!
Released the same year. Blood Sugar Sex Magic and Nirvana came out the same year. Heard of them.
Jacob, you go first on this one.
Man, I'm still gonna have to go Under the Bridge. I gotta give it to my boys. I like the bass line better. Dude, Smells Like Teen Spirit is a totally fine song. It's totally great. But Under the Bridge is once again it's an emotional song. Fucking stirs up emotions in people. I wouldn't, Smells Like Teen Spirit does stir up an emotion, but it's more of a fucking yeah. But yeah. Under the Bridge.
What do you think, Dusty? You want me to go? You want to go?
I will go because I have a different opinion than Jake. I don't know what your opinion is.
Fuck you, motherfuckers, assholes, making me.
I have to go with Smells Like Teen Spirit. Similarly to Jacob, Nirvana is the band that changed the way that I think about music or the way that I listen to music. Like I didn't listen to Nirvana in real time. I was in high school by the time I heard Nirvana for the first time. So Kurt had long committed suicide and everything. But I had a friend who liked wrestling and I liked wrestling. So I would go to his house and he would listen to non-Christian music. The only music I could listen to at my house was Christian music. And so I remember,
you poor thing.
I know it was rough all over. And I remember listening to Nirvana for the first time and being like, that guy's really mad about something. And I am also really mad about a lot of stuff. I don't know what he's mad about, but he seems mad and I'm mad. And that speaks to sort of how I'm feeling. And I'll change it.
Dusty's mad that Hulk Hogan broke up the Mega Powers.
Look, it's as valid a reason to be upset. I'll switch it from the drum intro, which I already talked about, to the end when Kurt is singing the A Denial over and over again, and then the music cuts out and it's just the reverb of his voice. Like, what a powerful moment and a powerful end to that song. So like for those reasons, that's why I'll go with Teen Spirit on this one. But Under the Bridge, great song, better song musically on almost every technical level you could apply it. It's just it doesn't do it for me the same way Teen Spirit does.
I just had a flashback to when I first heard Smells Like Teen Spirit. There were some kids I was hanging out with, and they had the CD. And they also had Use Your Illusion 2, which had You Could Be Mine on it from Terminator 2. And I was very excited about that. But they were like, listen to this.
Yeah.
And they played me Smells Like Teen Spirit. And I was like, oh, shit. But yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
I had a friend who called me and was like, dude, I just want to read you the lyrics to this song. And he read me the lyrics to Smells Like Teen Spirit. And
mulatto.
But yeah, what the fuck is a mulatto? Oh, Dusty does a very good breakdown. Yeah. Too bad it was wrong as shit. Under the Bridge.
I cut
wins. So this is why I'm doing it, because
what I'm dealing with.
It was really it was good luck, bro. Cabron beats fucking Smells Like Teen Spirit. So this is why I'm picking Under the Bridge. Cabron. And I am. I was thinking about that song.
Tony Hawk's favorite song.
I see you in the park. You're always wearing Dodger blue.
That's a good one.
It's great. I'm a hypocrite because this does not apply to Chop Suey, and I put Chop Suey over Under the Bridge. But Under the Bridge applies to the people who like most of the people. Well, Under the Bridge applies to most of the people who like Smells Like Teen Spirit, but it also applies to your mom. Like your mom loves Under the Bridge. And like, well, none of our moms do, because anyway. But older ladies love Under the Bridge. Your dad loves Under the Bridge. You love Under the Bridge. Your kids are going to love Under the Bridge. And they're all going to feel, even though it's about a guy doing heroin under the bridge, right? Everybody feels Kiedis when he says, I don't ever want to feel like I feel that day, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and
but
sometimes I feel like I don't have a partner. Sometimes I feel like my only friend, Yeah,
it's the same shit. Not everybody's going to feel entertain us. Life is stupid. Like the whole the point of like it's not Smells Like Teen Spirit is not nearly as relatable of a song as the song that's about doing heroin under the bridge. So, it touches a lot more people, and because of that, I'm gonna.
That's fair. Don't ever speculate what my dad would like. All right, my dad could have hated Under the Bridge. Who knows?
Yeah, from what I understand, your dad liked drum circles and war dances.
From what I understand, my dad could have been under the bridge downtown.
He probably was.
So, well, the thing that I'll give Under the Bridge too is it's. Like you said, it's sneaky in that it's about heroin, and you'll be singing "Under the Bridge Downtown is where I
drew some blood,"
and you're like, hey, "What? I could not get enough." Like it does have that, and it does have that great when the drums finally come in, and it becomes that big swirling. Like it's amazingly composed. I don't think there's a loser necessarily. Here, we're talking a preference,
except for Island in the Sun.
Except for poor Island in the Sun that takes a dirt nap over these other 7 songs. Not
it's the guy who was the guy. Was it Heath Slater that like was running into the Royal Rumble, and a guy was trying to get to the ring. It was his time in the Royal Rumble, and he fell. And everybody, when they got called out, they beat the shit out of him on the way to the ring.
Every time he was so close to getting in the ring, someone would grab him and throw him and kick the shit out of him again. Just real quick,
it's a great
because I enjoyed this. The top 10 songs from 2010 to 2019 on modern rock radio were 10 Lithium by Nirvana, Soundgarden by Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden was number 9.
Great song.
Enter Sandman by Metallica, number 8.
Yeah.
In Bloom by Nirvana, number 7. Self-Esteem by The Offspring, number 6. Number 5, Even Flow by Pearl Jam. Number 4, Stone Temple Pilots.
I like Opperman's version better.
Yeah. Stone Temple Pilots Plush was number 4, surprising to me. Even though I don't hate the Stone Temple Pilots, I came back around.
That's a big radio song, yeah. Oh, STP is a great band, dude. My God.
Come As You Are by Nirvana, number 3. Number 2, Man in the Box by Alice in Chains. Number 1, Smells Like Teen Spirit, 145,000 times. it was played. Nirvana on this list 4 times. Interestingly enough, Red Hot Chili Peppers not on the list. Just an interesting factoid for me to put out there.
Listen, bro, it's because people don't have the delicate palate that me and Jacob have.
Psycho Sexy.
You know what else isn't on the case on the list? Fucking Cake, bro. You know what I mean? Don't see Cake on that list, do you?
They're out playing with Tonic and shit. I love Tonic.
Oh, Dusty's muted. I don't hear
him. Yeah, guys.
Can you hear Dusty, Jacob?
No, I can't.
Dusty, did you mute yourself? You son of a bitch.
Myself in the studio. All right. Well, I'll take my loss. That's fine.
Lick your wounds.
I'll think about my 4 divas for next week.
I should have thrown Linkin Park in on this.
I was gonna say actually we should have a new metal tier list that we go for. We Korn and Linkin Park and
are there 8 of them?
You know, like get all 3 of them.
Yeah, the song. Yeah,
there's more. Well, System of a Down's one of them.
I was gonna say, isn't System of a Down?
Yeah, Rage Against the Machine goes on there.
Yeah, Rage. Sure, they don't want to be called that. I was surprised. But sure.
Yeah.
I was surprised you didn't pick Rage.
It's Dusty. Not.
I didn't pick them because I knew you were going to pick them.
I couldn't. I know they're an alternative rock band, but they're a rap rock band, so it doesn't seem fair to put them against like guitar, like I guess just straight up guitar bands in the classical sense. Like I know Smashing Pumpkins and Rage Against the Machine get played on the same radio stations, but I don't think of them as similar bands in style.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Do you guys want to hear the top 10 new metal bands on
Cold
Ranker?
Chamber?
Yeah. Disturbed.
Number one is Korn.
I love Cold Chamber, by the way.
then we've got Slipknot, System of a Down, Linkin Park, Deftones, Disturbed, Mudvayne.
Ooh, I love Mudvayne.
Limp Bizkit, Papa Roach, and Godsmack.
Ooh, we gotta do that tier list, bro.
Half those bands don't want to be on that list. Like the Deftones are mad.
Those are the good ones.
Deftones are mad. They're on the new metal list.
But they came up at the same time, and it's not like they don't sound much like Korn. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like it's low-tuned guitars and screaming. I mean, come on.
The thing that sucks for Linkin Park is their song's going to be "In the End," and that is not their best song by any.
That's a really good song, though.
So it is a good song, though.
That piano part.
So anyway.
It's
very good.
Half of those,
very good.
If we do that list, half of those bands are bands I don't want to listen to in the first place. So it'd be a
that'd be perfect.
Fresh listen. Yeah, it'd be a completely fresh listen.
We got to figure it out though, because we get like there were a lot of people who hadn't heard the Linoleum by NoFX that were listening to our last episode. A lot of those people don't even know Mudvayne is a thing.
Maybe those people
then
went and listened to Linoleum, though, and now they know. So, I mean, that's good. So. That's a good thing. There's oftentimes I'll stop a podcast to listen to a song they just referenced. It happens a lot just because I want to know what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? And there have been times where I'm like, that's the band Mama. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but I don't know where I think they're from California, but just a couple of girls that write songs together. Their last album was called Household Name. And a podcast randomly referenced them and played like 30 seconds of one of their songs. And Household Name was like the only album I listened to last year. I mean, like it was so that album is so good. That album's like Nevermind good. Like every song hits.
Wow.
Household Name by
Jacob,
Mama.
I don't want to make. Yeah, Mama is very good. I don't want to make a new Disturbed fan. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody happens to go listen to Prayer by Disturbed and falls in love, and I did that to them,
listen, man,
and they're a Disturbed person now.
I don't like Disturbed's music. I'll be the first to say that. But I think their lead singer is actually a really good person, and he's done a lot of really cool things. So
not to me.
What'd he do?
I got in a fucking argument on Twitter with that guy. And and I stayed away from. I wanted to stay away from Your Band Sucks because I don't like Disturbed at all. So we were arguing over something in comedy. I can't remember what it was. I ended up deleting it from my tweets because that was when I cared about Twitter and I didn't want all that sitting there. Me and him argued for like 2 hours, and then he blocked me. And then he blocked me, and then at the end, I finally was like, I just got in an argument with the singer Disturbed about ethics in comedy. By the way, at Disturbed sucks.
Well, my gosh. Well, I've liked things he's done, but man, if he's beefing with my brother,
he could be a good guy.
I gotta stand up for my brother, man.
No, he could be a good guy. He and I just got
if we do the new metal list, that means I possibly have to listen to "I Stand Alone" by Godsmack, which
Dude, I
want
saw
to do.
Godsmack live once as an opening band. They were opening for Metallica, and I was just there for Metallica, obviously. And then they were one of the most boring bands I've ever seen in my life, and they did though,
which is crazy because their name is Godsmack.
Their drummer, and like another drum kit appeared on stage, and their singer got on the drums, and they did a drum off, the drummer and the singer. Yep. And that was the only part of that show that was awesome because like they're both amazing drummers.
Yeah, that guy likes to do that. Sully from Godsmack. Yeah, that's his name.
Sully's a good drummer.
He's an amazing drummer. He really is. Yeah, like Justin Bieber.
That's pretty cool. The fourth most popular song by Godsmack is "Crying Like." It's called "Crying Like a Bitch."
Oh god.
Yeah, dude.
So you know.
Like, yeah.
I can't
listen. If we're doing new,
I'm glad Buck Cherry isn't on that list. Is all I'll say.
That's exact. We had the same thought. I was gonna say if we're doing new metal, I'm throwing Buck Cherry on the list, even though they're not a new metal band. Hey,
that's not new metal. That is like that's what I call butt rock, even though there's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I call bandana rock.
Yeah, you should call it buck rock.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Buck rock.
Oh
shit!
Nailed it. Are you guys want to do a movie to movie and get out of here?
Do a movie
sure.
to movie.
Yeah. What's that?
All right, Jacob. So the movie to movie is a trivia situation where you get one movie and you have to do kind of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon to the other movie. So like Naked Lunch, Tom Selleck was in Naked Lunch, who was in so and so with Morgan Freeman, who was in The Hate U Give. You know what I mean?
I never heard of either of those.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Let's see Naked Lunch.
Let's.
Was Naked Lunch a John Waters movie?
I don't.
So we'll go. This is what we do. We click. We're on Naked Lunch. These people are in Naked Lunch. Peter Weller,
he's
Judy
RoboCop.
Davis, Ian Holm. Peter Weller is RoboCop. So let's look at who's in The Hate U Give. We got Amandla Stenberg. Her name is Amandla. What the fuck, man? Sorry,
Regina Hall.
Regina
from
Hall.
Scary Movie.
Russell Hornsby, KJ
Common
Apa,
from Terminator 4.
Anthony Mackie, Algie Smith, Lamar Johnson,
Anthony Mackie
Issa
is
Rae.
The guy with the wings, the Falcon, in
the
Marvel
Falcon.
movies.
That's probably the way in for me. Ian Holm. Is Ian Holm in Naked Lunch? Is he Bilbo Baggins?
Ian Holm?
Got to go the other way. That guy. That's Bilbo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like Bilbo.
Oh, Julian Sands. That's Warlock. That's the Warlock from the Warlock movies.
from Warlock?
Yes.
Okay.
Roy Scheider.
Roy Schneider from Jaws,
bro.
Hell yeah,
but
dude.
how do we get from Roy Scheider to Common? That's going to be a bit of a... Or from...
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
So is there... You said Peter Weller is RoboCop, right? We've also got somebody on the other side who is in Scary Movie. Is there somebody who's in both of those movies?
Shit, probably not.
Yeah,
there was some time between them, but they're goofy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all.
Somebody was trying to explain this to me the other day. Evan was, my kid. And my brain went blank, like when I look at algebra. And...
Well, this one's harder. I think you'd be able to do pretty well normally with these. Kai got this in 2.5 minutes. So
let me
you
see
guys
what
got
Peter Weller's in. Just go to Peter Weller's IMDb.
Peter Weller's in RoboCop in 2022. Skin Trade, Repentance. He's in The Dark Knight Returns, Star Trek Into Darkness, Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Part 2. Those Dragon Eyes, Forced to Fight. William S. Burroughs, Man Within, Once Fallen, Dating Vietnam, Prey, The Hard Easy, The Poseidon Adventure, Undiscovered.
Hit up The Poseidon Adventure.
Okay.
Ricker Hammer.
In The Poseidon Adventure, we've got Adam Baldwin, who looks very familiar. What was he in?
He was in Firefly.
Adam Baldwin.
And a bunch of
Rutger Hauer.
He's
He
in
was
something
in
else.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And Steve Guttenberg's from Police Academy.
Oh, this
Hell
is
yeah,
not the
Steve
movie that I thought
Guttenberg.
it was. God damn it.
He's a stonecutter. So we're trying to get from listen. The Hate You Give, very black.
I'm trying to get to Anthony Mackie. Okay? I'm trying to get to somebody that was.
This
in
is the widest movie that's ever been made.
Something with Anthony Mackie. So I'm trying to go, as Kai often suggests, with the Marvel route, but I don't see anybody obvious that's in other Marvel movies.
Can I go backwards? Yeah. Like if I pick Adam Baldwin isn't in a Marvel movie. He's in something, bro. Nope. I'm already out. He's in Superman Doomsday.
Go to Drill Pit Taylor.
Those are animated things.
Drill Pit Taylor.
Owen Wilson.
He
is in Ant-Man and the Wasp with Paul Rudd. Who's in goddamn Avengers Endgame.
Okay. We're
with
cooking.
Anthony Mackie.
With Anthony Mackie.
On your left.
I just looked him up.
Yeah, who's in The Hate You Give.
Look at us. We did it.
I'll be
5.
damned. Look at you go, Dusty. Great job, man.
The shortest possible is 2. Well, listen, I'm taking a little bit of credit there because I took it to you know what I mean? I picked that guy.
Peter Weller,
I got one of them.
What movie is Repentance with Anthony Mackie?
Never heard of it.
Nope.
I don't know. You want to do Rotten Tomatoes real quick? Jacob, this is Rotten Tomatoes movie trivia.
Okay.
It gives us how many words are in the title, the Rotten Tomatoes scores, the rating, the year, the genre, and the runtime. And we got to figure out what the movie it is. So this is a movie from 2002. It is a kids and family comedy. And it's got 2 words. I'm guessing this is Spy Kids.
Spy Kids.
I think Spy Kids has a better rating, but I'll go with Spy Kids.
Yeah, well, I bet Spy Kids has a better audience rating. I bet Spy Kids got fucking killed by so the rating. So everybody listening, it's 57% critic score, 52% audience score. Let's go Spy Kids. It was wrong.
Oh shit.
This irritating. Oh, I think I know what this is. This irritatingly feeble basketball movie for kids is co-produced by the NBA, for whom it is pretty candidly designed as a giant feature-length commercial. I'm wondering if this is like Mike.
That would be my guess.
With Bow Wow.
With one Bow Wow.
Bow Wow.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Look at us.
Boom. Boom shakalaka.
All right.
So fresh.
So fresh. I think I'm going to go to In-N-Out Burger.
Oh yeah, I'm
Just
about
letting everybody
to chow down. That was a long one, but it was good. That was good stuff, man. That was fun.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Ah.
Yeah. But thank you to Jacob.
Yes.
We love you.
And pimp my band, Anything or Everything. We're out doing stuff. We're about to make some new stuff. Anything or Everything. Check it out. Spotify, iTunes, Instagram. We're not on TikTok.
The look good. You guys sound really good. When I see you play.
Yeah, man. We've really been cooking, man. And the crazy thing is like when Anything or Everything started, it was like 20 years ago, and we were amongst all these new metal bands, and so like nobody liked us because like we weren't sad. And and
we were sad.
We were
just
sad.
Wasn't
it
in
was
our
just
music.
the music wasn't so sad. But man, now like we came back and like this kind of music's popular again, and like so it's more alternative leaning and stuff like that. So just guitar music, but we've been having a great time. We've been playing a lot of shows.
Yes, listen to Anything or Everything. It's very fun. I revisit all the time. Jacob shreds, and he writes great songs. So, follow us on the socials, subscribe to our YouTube, and we love you. Thank you very much, and don't do drugs.
Bye, everybody.
Or do.
Why?